CBI Sports presents Long Beach High School Football Game of the Week. Today's game features the Lakewood Lancers traveling to face the Millikan Rams. Game of the Week is sponsored by Avid Electronics and Saravello's Restaurant and Sports Stop. Hi everybody, my name is Willie Padilla. At the beginning of the season, as every team does at the beginning of every high school football season, teams set goals. Some teams like to set their goals for a CIF championship. Still others like to set their goals for league championships. And right now we have two teams that have modified their goals that they began in the 1996 season with. They have set their goals now for a spot in the upcoming CIF playoffs. Joining me as usual is Errol Parker. And Errol, these two teams, if one of them wins and one of them has to, they have a shot at a CIF playoff spot.
They certainly do, and for the Lakewood Lancers, that could be a sweet ending to their season. They've had a tough season, but they've played a lot of tough games, Willie. They've been in ball games, and then they fumbled, they had interceptions, and now they lost their quarterback after the Paramount game, which we saw a few weeks ago, Todd Tomich. Now, John Vasconcellos will be the quarterback, and he threw for 222 yards against Compton last week, so he's a very able quarterback. We'll probably see him sprint out and run the option quite a bit, but he's pretty good.
Indeed, if ever comes a football game that a team needed, it was that Compton game last week for the Lakewood Lancers. They ran the football well, they passed it well, and of course head coach Phil Dunaway and our Eddie Van guys had an opportunity to speak about this week's game coming up against Millikan.
Coach Phil Dunaway for the Lakewood Lancers. It's been a tough season, but the positive side, you had win number one last week.
Yeah, we did. You know, we went out against Compton, did some things well. We still made some mistakes, but fortunate enough we came away with a win. Yeah.
And this is always a great rivalry, and here you find yourself in a most important game against a rival like Millikan, and both you guys are 1-2 in more league play.
Right. You know, it's a big win for both of us tonight. Whoever wins this game has a chance at the playoffs. You know, if we win, we still have a chance at the playoff, amazingly so.
Coach, what did you tell the kids coming into this game tonight?
You don't have to tell them anything when they play Millikan. This is crosstown rivalry. They know what's at stake. You know, we gave up the Hamilton Trophy last year and on a late field goal, and so our kids are pretty frustrated about that. They want to win it back.
What is the key to defeat Millikan tonight?
Key for us tonight is to hang on the football, not turn the ball over. You know, we've been in games with good teams. We've turned the ball over and given them points, given them opportunities to score. We can't do that with Millikan either. They're a good football team.
All right, Coach, good luck tonight.
Okay, thank you very much.
Good luck, huh?
And now the Lakewood Lancers, here's a team that up until last week was 0-7 during the 1996 season. Now they've won that first game of the year, and now they're looking for a spot in the CIF playoffs. But the Millikan Rams, on the other hand, here's a team that won their first 5 games in the 1996 season. Things seem to fall off for them during more league play, but now they can turn things back around and end the season on a high note.
Very, very tough game, a very, very key game for Millikan tonight. It was just like last year. Lakewood was in this situation. I mean, Millikan was in a situation the same as Lakewood. But Millikan had a tough loss last week, Willie, against Jordan. 12-7. They were driving to the end zone, and on the 5-yard line, Josh Jordan fumbled. But you know, he kind of shook it off. But that was a big loss for them. But they have a good overall win-loss record, and even if they should lose today and lose next week, they do have a slight chance to get the playoffs. But they're taking it one game at a time, and they're going to have to use their speed to beat Lakewood tonight.
And there's also a possibility that the sun may not rise tomorrow. So Millikan really does have to earn one of the top 3 spots in the Moore League. And I'm sure that's one of the things that our own Eddie Van guys had an opportunity to speak with head coach Tony Peralta about prior to today's game.
Coach Tony Peralta, your Millikan Rams are having a good year, 6-2 overall, 1-2 in more league play, and tonight a big rival in Lakewood. But let's go back 1 week. You lost a heartbreaker against Jordan.
Yeah, that was about as tough a loss as we've experienced around here in the last 10 years, with a lot of things riding on the line. It's tough to bounce back, but if you're going to bounce back, it's the best to bounce back against Lakewood.
And I guess the importance of this game here, you're both 1-2, you're rivals, so it's a most important game.
Oh yeah, it's a role reversal from a year ago. They're going to give us their best effort. That's what makes this game great, and we're going to do the same because we still feel that, you know, we have an outside shot on the playoffs. This is a game we need to win if we're going to have any consideration. And it's just great for the kids to experience this kind of a game, this kind of atmosphere, and to have it mean something. The kids it's a Millikan Lakewood game. You can't ask for anything more.
What strengths of theirs do you have to stop for a victory this evening?
Well, they're big. They're big and physical up front, offensively and defensively, and they can control the ball. So we've got to keep them off the field, get them on third down conversions, and make them punt. That's going to be a key.
All right, Tony, good luck tonight.
Thank you. All right.
Well, as we mentioned at the outset, both teams seem to have modified their goals for the 1996 season. Maybe it was a case of setting their goals too high and missing the target, but now that they have some reasonable goals making the CIF playoffs, both teams have a shot. And not only is that at stake, it seems that 2-1 and 2 teams, it shouldn't be very important, but not only do you have a playoff spot potentially at stake, but also the Hamilton Trophy. So there's a lot of pride that goes into this ball game as well.
It goes back many, many years. Millikan and Lakewood has had a tradition and a rivalry that is second to none. So this game has a lot riding on it, like you said, the Hamilton Trophy. But an analysis of this game tonight, Willie, Millikan has more speed than Lakewood, but Lakewood is a big team and they block real well, and if they can get off early in this football game, we can see a very competitive game.
Well, that's always what we're looking for, and I think we've got a good one as the Lakewood Lancers travel to face the Millikan Rams, a playoff spot potentially at stake. My name's Willie Padilla, along with me, Errol Parker and Eddie Van Geist. Stay with us. Kickoff's coming up.
Hi, I'm Paula Poundstone, and I'm here to tell you that Comic Relief is celebrating its 10th anniversary by releasing the mother of all comedy books, page after page of stellar stand-up comedy, all in one, I hate to say it, but hilarious comedy book, Comic Relief. The least you can do is laugh. The most you can do is help millions of homeless men, women, and children. So go to a bookstore not too far from your dwelling and buy Comic Relief. You'll not only be laughing, you'll be helping, and you can do my act.
Missing children are hard to find. You can help by supporting Missing Kids International.
MKI is a nonprofit organization addressing the critical issue of missing children. Call 1-800-353-MISS to find out how you can help MKI and receive your free child identification forms used in emergencies by law enforcement agencies for the children you love.
With your support, Missing Kids International gives every missing child a chance.
The 15th annual Gatsby is taking place Saturday, November 9th in the Grand Ballroom of the Long Beach Convention Center. This elegant black tie event features Jennifer Holliday of Dreamgirls fame and Mistress of Ceremonies, Susan Westenhofer, one of the most confident comedians of improv. The Gatsby also includes dinner and dancing, an auction, and presentation of the AIDS Commitment Awards. This event benefits the services and programs provided by the Center and AIDS Project Long Beach. For tickets, call 310-987-5213.
Come home and discover Home Shopping Network's outstanding selection of what's fashionable and innovative for the place where you unwind, dream, and breathe a little easier. No matter what your taste, Home Shopping Network offers products that will work beautifully in your home. Tune in this month and be part of realizing a dream as Home Shopping Network joins with Habitat for Humanity in building a house to make a home. Home Shopping Network. We have what you need to feel right at home.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School football game of the week. This week, we come to you from the campus of Millikan High School as the Lakewood Lancers travel to face the Millikan Rams in the 9th game of the 1996 regular season. The CIF playoffs loom just 2 weeks away, and these two teams trying to position themselves into one of the top 3 spots because that's all that'll go out of the Moore League. Number 1, number 2, and number 3 into postseason play against the winners and top 3 seeds from 4 other Division I teams. Our officiating crew is a good one, led by our Dean of Officials, Al Dean, and the rest of his crew, Al Granado, our umpire, line judge, Rich Flores, head linesman, Bill Clark, and the back judge, Jim Erickson. And I have Steve Stitchin stepping in at the back judge.
Where we're looking at Kevin Scott, who's going to receive this kickoff, and he's a good one.
Taken at about the 12. Nice move to the outside as Victor Martinez takes it beyond the 35, and that's where the Lancers will take over, led by quarterback John Vasconcelos. In the backfield, Joe Bresnahan, Victor Martinez, Kevin Scott. The receivers, Joe Snee, Hendrick Robertson, and the offensive line for the Lancers. And this will be the key in this game for them. Erwin Rosales, John Kennard, Jason Cunningham, Santiago Banuelos, and Brian Robertson. A week ago against Compton, the Lancers ran the football well, passed it exceedingly well in a sense. Vasconcelos was intercepted 3 times. That was one more completion to a Compton player than the Compton team had. First pass complete, as that'll pick up 8 yards. Big hit at the end of that play, as once the grab was made, play was over. Josh Weller, Alfred Durr, Josh Jordan make up the secondary for the Rams. Their linebacking core, Randy Scott, Sean Smith, Alex Gardner, and Matt Schauber. That is a good crew right there. Cyrus Alfar, Michael Odom, Javier Alvarez, and Koto Taufi are the line.
Well, Matt Schauber has been replaced in the starting lineup by Chris Hyde. We didn't get that in before the broadcast. And Josh Jordan will be playing at both ends of the football at free safety as well as running back.
Kevin Scott made the grab on that last play. It is first down and 10 as the ball was marked with first down yardage. It's Scott again as he pushes his blocker out of the way. I don't think that's the way they draw it up. Usually you let him get out in front and do his job. As you can see, right after he pushed his blocker out of the way, down he went.
I was talking with Kurt Jones, the running back coach for the Lakewood Lancers, former Poly grade. He says he really likes Kevin Scott, and he reminds him of himself, Scott does, at running back.
Well, it wasn't so much that he pushed Brian Robertson down, as Robertson provided some interference and then couldn't keep the wheels going. But that's still a pickup of 7 on the first down and 10 play, second down and 3. 2 plays and about 17 yards gain. Kevin Scott gets the football, and it looks like he's got first down yardage. Kevin Scott's been the featured player thus far, carried the ball twice, caught 1 pass, and it's been good for 20 yards.
He's an athlete, and we look for big things from him tonight. He has been at the running back position the last few games, and he has starred. One of the bright spots other than a disappointing season for the Lancers thus far.
First down and 10, football at the Ram 41. The give, this time it's Matt Garcia, or excuse me, Joe Bresnahan, number 8, not 6. So Bresnahan picks up a couple.
We have a penalty on the field. Looks like a personal foul on the part of Lakewood.
There's where you're going to find that personal foul. That kick, that had a, there's even a second kick. Well, at least if he was going in forward motion, that was. Aldine makes a call. That is the personal foul. The first time, maybe it was a knee-jerk reaction. The second time, that cleat was pointed. So a personal foul drives the Lancers back to 2nd and 25. Not a good situation. The pass complete and dropped as Victor Martinez had the football, and not much, but at least a little bit of running room, but he flat out dropped it. 3rd down and 25.
Vasconcelos is also a baseball player, and he throws a fastball really well. I mean, he must be a pitcher, according to the running back coach, Kurt Jones, for the Lancers, and he stepped in there since the Paramount game and has performed pretty well, even though they have not won many games.
So Vasconcelos facing his first big play of the game, 3rd and 25. This is going to take something downfield, and instead the Lancers will run the football, and this ball not going downfield as Taja Hardy goes down in the backfield virtually.
Well, it's a little surprising that they didn't go to the air. Of course, Millikan was expecting them to go to the air in an obvious passing situation, and they didn't want to show their whole card, so they essentially tried to run it, and now they'll have to give it up.
So the penalty, the personal foul, the key to ending this drive, as it put the Lancers back into a very long field position, and it was tacked on at the end of the play, so after the first down and 10 play, it made it 2nd and 25, and the Lancers could not recover. They'll have to give it up now. As the punt takes a Lancer bounce, fielded at the 10 by Josh Jordan, to the 20, looking for some room, breaks a tackle, and gets to the 33. Nice little run back by Josh Jordan as he returns it for a nice return of 23. Dan Beaudry will lead the Rams out offensively. DeAndre Grant, Josh Jordan, a great backfield for the Rams. Kyle Moore, Josh Weller, Mark Wells, the receiving core and the offensive line for the Rams. Nick Masterakis, Jason Murphy, Vladimir Hernandez, Matt Tomlin, and Dan Paramaki.
Pretty good experience offensive line for the Rams.
First down and 10, football at the 34-yard line. In motion goes Grant. The pitch goes to Jordan. Jordan cuts back to the inside and gets drilled. There to meet him was McCreadis and company. The defense, Kawan Owens, Keith Jackson, Marley Tucker, the secondary. Joe Bresnahan, Matt Garcia, Thomas Langston, and Johnny Salas, the linebacking core. In the line, Louis McCreadis, who made that last tackle, John Kennard, Nadumi Favors, and Joe Elkins.
Joe Elkins is a good one. I was talking to Coach Peralta, Willie, before the football game, and he feels like he has a faster team than the Lancers, and he's going to try to get his backs outside in the flats.
Well, as we saw in a game earlier this season between the Bruins of Wilson and Millikan, they had a fast player in Josh Jordan, and Jordan, they will say, was down and fumbled the football on the ground. The ground cannot cause a fumble, and that is what is alleged by the officiating crew. But what I was going to say was that Jordan had superior speed, but he was the only player with superior speed to the Bruins.
Well, this was turned in nicely, almost like a clip there by number 31, DeAndre Grant, on number 40 for the Lakewood Lancers, Johnny Salas. But it was no flag.
But a good call that it was not a fumble. Instead, the ball knocked loose with contact on the ground. Third down and 10. Pass over the middle. Nearly coming up with it was Weller, I believe. It was Josh Weller. That was close.
The former quarterback, playing wide receiver all this year, has performed well in some games.
No alligator arms. He had him out there.
Yeah, he pulled it back a little bit too soon, and he could have had a reception and some extra yards.
7:47 left in the first quarter, compared to the game we did last week where Pauley throttled the Bruins by a final of 59-30, and the end of the first quarter score is something like 34-14. This game is just speeding along as the punt takes a Millikan mega bounce and rolls inside the 20.
Speaking of the Jackrabbits, I left their game at halftime, and the Jackrabbits were leading the Jordan Panthers 28-6.
Meanwhile, down on the field, we've got a report from our own Eddie Van Geis. Eddie. And Eddie is setting up for that report, apparently, somewhere down on this sideline. Hopefully this sideline. Of course, he's been with us this entire 1996 season and was with us as well last season. But for you and I, Errol, this is game number 99 after doing 9 years of Long Beach High School football. We've seen a lot of players, a lot of crazy things. As we saw the hook and ladder by the St. Anthony Saints.
I will never forget that one.
Many, many moons. Ralph Godfrey's team back in, I think, 86.
I don't know what's going on in the field here. It must be...
I think we're going to have a re-kick as Aldine breaks out his flag for the first time. He dusts it off. Tony Peralta, not pleased, apparently. But let's see. It looks like it's being marked off against the Lancers. So Peralta is going to be a little bit happier, I believe, because that would be a first down. It is a personal foul against Lakewood prior to the change of possession. That's a big, big first down. So we have seen 2 huge penalties against the Lancers on their first down and 10 run where their runner Bresnahan kicked or tried to kick a Ram player, cost him 15. That led to the demise of their first drive. And here, a personal foul extends the drive on a punt. DeAndre Grant, freight train a-rolling, and he gets a pickup of 9.
Well, they throttled DeAndre Grant. The Panthers did. You know, DeAndre is a tackle-to-tackle, guard-to-guard runner, and they stacked up on him last week against Jordan, and he didn't get very many yards. But the offensive line had a nice surge, and look at him, Willie, keeping that ball wrapped up and gets about 7 yards. Almost 10.
I think if you go back to Aerosmith, Get Your Wings, they've got a song called Train Kept a Rolling. And I think you could do a highlight reel of DeAndre Grant to that tune. Watch Josh Jordan, he's gone. It's a foot race. Nice cut back by Jordan. Still on his feet. I tell you what, though, if it wasn't for the secondary, he is out of here.
Well, he bounced to the outside, Willie. DeAndre Grant gave him a nice block inside the tackle, and then he just bounced off and went to the outside. And you get Josh Jordan on the outside, he's got real good speed.
How about Marley Tucker, who makes the tackle here? He comes out of nowhere.
Those safeties have that angle, and if they have a little speed, they can cut off a fast runner.
When I saw Jordan bounce to the outside, I didn't even see Tucker, and he made up a lot of room to save a touchdown. But for how long, we'll have to wait and see, as a flag comes down just as the play gets off. Usually that's an offensive penalty, and that'll cost the Rams 5 if indeed it is against Millikan. Well, Rich Flores, Aldine having a chuckle there. I think we saw a little finger pointing in the direction of Millikan, so kind of let the cat out of the bag, so to speak.
Well, that's one of the things you really don't like to see, at least a coach who has a football down in the red zone. You have a really nice run, 40, 50 yards, and you get ready to score, and someone does something ill-advised, and it sets you back. It takes a little bit of momentum away from you, and gets you further away from the pay dirt. And they do it again.
Well, it's what you said. That'll let the air out. Then you do it again, and it's like the Hindenburg. It's blowing up.
You're marching in the wrong direction after a very, very nice run. This time an offensive lineman. Go ahead, Willie.
Emphatically we're in the wrong direction.
Yeah. Looks like number 64 for the...
That'd be Tomlin.
Matt Tomlin for the Rams. Now, Tom Morgan is not going to like that. He's the offensive line coach. He works for the police department. We talk quite a bit about it, and I love offensive line football, and him and I talk quite a bit about it. And he's taught me a great deal about how the offensive line has to be really synchronized.
Pass complete. Little slip screen. Nice block. To the outside, Weller. He needs another block. He doesn't get it as the tackle made by the Lancers, number 18. I was thinking that was number 8. That was instead number 18, Keith Jackson.
Well, it was a nice, actually just a nice look-in pattern and almost a clip up there at the top of the screen. And really, he runs a lot lateral. If he had just run up the field, he probably would have gotten 6 or 7 more yards, if not a touchdown. Now we have another penalty.
Actually, that is the clip that you said it would have been if it had been called, and it had been called.
Now, I just got to tell you, Willie, I don't understand clips. You know you cannot clip, and then you get excited and you get a clip and you kill a drive.
Well, I haven't seen a player with a helmet in the front part of his face, so that can't be it. They have to know they're hitting the kid in the back.
They have to know it.
It's first down and goal from the 34-yard line, and dives for about a yard. How about a first and goal from the 34? They may not be able to kick a field goal from here. So 2 personal fouls by Lakewood cost them early, but after Millikan gets first down and goal, they commit a procedure, an encroachment, and now a clip. So 25 yards in penalties since first down and goal to make it 2nd and 34, or 2nd and goal from the 34 rather. Jordan in motion. The pass, he's got Weller, but Weller doesn't have the ball.
That time they lined up in a double tight end set, and they put Weller out on the far right. He just did a slant pattern right in the center of the field. They really should have had that football. It was a nicely thrown football. He had his man beat, and that could have been maybe not 6, but close to about the 10-yard line because he's got decent speed.
Generally speaking, that's usually hitting him right on the numbers. In this case, he really did hit him on the numbers because it went right through his hands, and that's where it hit him. But that is not a good thing. 3rd down and goal from the 34. Let's see if the Rams can recover from what has happened during this series. Up top, it's up for grabs, and it's picked off. Let's see, no, incomplete. It appeared to be picked off momentarily by Taja Hardy, and if Hardy had a better idea of where he was along that sideline, he might have been able to get a foot down inside the line because he was very close.
We might be looking at a Millikan team right now, Willie, that may be a little down after losing to Jordan. And they had Monday's practice, according to Coach Peralta, was not good, but then they picked themselves up later on in the week. This pass could have been intercepted.
In fact, it would have been had Keith Jackson not broken it up, but he didn't know, and it was the better course for the Lancer defense. We're about to see the longest field goal attempt I think we've ever seen in Game of the Week history, a 52-yarder. The attempt coming up from Ken Caceres. That would be a rouge in Canadian football. A miss in the States. 4:57 left in the first quarter. We're still scoreless after the Rams get to the doorstep, but get the door slammed in on their feet.
99 games, and you haven't lost any sense of humor at all after 99 games. That's quite a compliment to my good broadcast partner. After 9 years, Will, it's been a great pleasure working with you.
Thank you, Earl. It's been a pleasure as well. In fact, we were talking about some of the things that we've seen, and I recall the Millikan Poly game of several years ago, where a screen pass on the final play of the first half, which is a play that surprised us because we thought the Rams would go for a Hail Mary, instead turned into like a 45-yard screen pass touchdown for the Rams and made a very close game. As the pass complete for the Lancers
to Victor Martinez.
And that would be a first down for Lakewood. Martinez could be said to be guilty of lying down on the job, but he still got his job done.
Do we know anything about Vasconcelos as far as a baseball player? Willie, have you heard anything of him on the Lakewood baseball team?
He throws a great football, from all I hear.
Well, Lakewood usually has a good baseball team, so
thanks to, yes, Walter Spud O'Neill. And I'm sure he's going to get me for mentioning for all to hear his given name, which is why it goes by Spud, I guess. The give, and that'll pick up a few as Matt Garcia picks up 6. And one thing we've seen during the 1996 and 95 season, we're going to see again. That's Eddie Van Geis.
This indeed is one of the great rivalries in high school sports. This is the Hamilton Trophy. You were hearing Willie talk about it, the coaches. The earliest date on here, 1957, Millikan won it. They always have a great game. Last year, Millikan was victorious. The score, 9-7, that close. I want to thank Chip here, our latest commercial star, who hangs out at the House of Blues, for helping me out. And also on a serious note, our condolences go out to the Flores family. Rich Flores, one of the officials, is dedicating this game to his dad, who passed away this week. Let's go back upstairs to Willie and Errol.
Thank you very much, Eddie, for that report. In fact, the Hamilton Trophy, no relation to the Stanley Cup, the Hamilton Trophy dedicated to a teacher who taught, and this is the way I hear the story, that taught at both schools in the early days when they were both founded, and was very popular at both campuses, and perished in an accident of some sort, I believe an automobile accident, and the schools feeling so not only caring for the teacher so much and so forth, dedicated the Hamilton Trophy in her memory for every time that the two teams would play, and they've been playing for it perpetually ever since. And they said, what, 1957? That would make this about the 30th or 40th year. It looks like we're going to have a pass interference call against the Rams, and as if it wasn't bad enough that he committed it right in front of the official, Alfred Durr, but he did it also right in front of his coach.
Yeah, we didn't see it on our camera, but not too much. But Durr pleading his case, but it looks like an obvious penalty. Now, this is about the 4th penalty for the Rams, and the Lancers have about the same.
And then our crew in the truck is saying that the holding occurs right at the bottom of the screen where Durr holds the receiver trying to break to the outside.
Now, Alfred Durr is really an outstanding cornerback, and he's probably Division I cornerback, and he just got caught holding that on that particular play.
That's going to cost the Rams a bundle as the Lancers get a first down and move into Ram territory, as carrying for the football for the first time in this game, Darrell Davis, a junior.
Daryl Davis had a pretty good game against Paramount a few weeks ago when Paramount and the Lancers played. He's a nice speedy back. Doesn't have blazing speed, but he's very tricky. We noticed that the Lancers are lining up tight offensively. They don't have the wide receivers spread out. They have not a full house backfield, but they don't have a tight end. But they're lining up very, very tight.
Second and 8. Again, playing it very close. The give goes to Matt Garcia, and Matt Garcia was in Vasconcelos' kitchen, so to speak, as they were nose to nose when that handoff took place. I can hear on one of our parabolic mics, Coach Peralta, ever the educator. You can see there, that was virtually a collision.
Yeah, number 90 for the Lotu Taufi. There, as we look at Tony Peralta, who's running a real good program this year, came up with that tackle, Taufi.
Well, Rome was not built in a day, and this Millikan program certainly on the rise under Peralta. The pass tipped at the last moment. Nice defensive play by Schauber as the pass intended for Martinez, but Schauber gets his hand up.
Well, Matt Schauber has played outstanding football when we have seen him, Willie, this year and also last year. But that was an outstanding vertical jump to prevent a apparently completed pass. It probably would have been completed.
And what's key to that play is because of the broken hand on his other hand, he had to shift his body to get the good hand up to make the block. And I'm sure he'd also point out some hops.
Yeah, he really showed some vertical leaping ability on that particular play.
The punt with 1:29 left in the first quarter, angled towards the sideline. If it's inside the 20, it's a good one then. That's usually your measuring stick. Good punt by Paul Bice. And it'll be marked at the 15-yard line.
Although the Rams have improved on their win-loss overall schedule this year, and in that way it's been a successful season, no season is measured by any stretch of the imagination, Willie, unless you make the playoffs. And so they have a tough road. They have to beat these Lancers today as we look at Matt Schauber Sr. and Peralta, Coach Peralta, and they also face Long Beach Poly next week. So that's quite a hill to climb to get to the playoffs.
We're talking about modifying goals at the beginning, and I'll tell you how quickly the Rams modified their goals is Jordan, a nice pickup of about 9 on the first down and 10 play. But going into their Moore League opener, the Rams were 5-0. At that point, you could sense that their sights were set on an undefeated CIF championship type season. After the loss to Wilson, the goal was modified to potentially a Moore League title. And then after the loss to Jordan, it was modified to a CIF playoff berth.
Well, you got to modify. You just have to look at reality. Certain things are out of the picture after you lose ball games, and while they won all of their preseason games, they found some tough going in the league.
Beaudry over the middle, had 2 men in the vicinity, but that was as close as they got. It was a crossing pattern, and I'm not exactly sure that either player knew exactly what was going on. I know that going after it was Tony Garcia, but 45 on the play, Eric Slater didn't even look. That pass goes right behind him.
Play action pass by Beaudry. As for crossing patterns, as you said, Willie had plenty of time to throw the football. The football wasn't thrown that well, but 2 receivers in the same area, that's kind of unusual.
Did you see Slater, though? Slater's looking right at us. As they give up the middle to Grant. Grant hasn't been stopped yet. Still hasn't been stopped. Oh, big hit. He's got a first down and a whole lot more. Oh.
We have seen some bruising running backs this year. You know, you have DeAndre Grant and on this particular play, and you know, you can't just throw yourself at a running back like Grant. Now here's a hit. People try to tackle him. Now watch this hit here. That's just a hit against a rock of granite, and number 21 came out the worst of it.
There is no doubt about that, because once Marley Tucker made contact with DeAndre Grant, he went down. That's what Evander Holyfield's going to look like tomorrow night. As Josh Jordan picks up another first down.
Now, Marley did the same thing against Josh Jordan, but Josh Jordan does not weigh nearly as much as Willie as DeAndre Grant. And you may be able to knock down a running back like Jordan that way, but not DeAndre Grant. You're going to have to hit low and wrap and hope for some help.
I guess that was the good analogy. DeAndre Grant was a Mike Tyson uppercut, and Marley Tucker was Evander Holyfield's chin.
I think that's pretty apropos.
Well, we'll see tomorrow night, and after everyone sees this, they're going to know whether we're right or not. As time runs out here in the first quarter, zeros on the board. No score, no time, and it's time for a break. We'll be back with more in just a moment. Hi, folks. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School football game of the week. From Millikan High School, it's the Lancers and Rams. I'm Willie Padilla along with the Earl Parker, Eddie Van Geist, the rest of our CBI sports crew, headed up by our producer-director, Rob Meckhamson. Game number 9 of the 1996 season, game number 99 overall of our high school sports coverage. Looking forward to the century mark next week. DeAndre Grant, this time held for only 4 yards, and you could see it was a community effort.
Coach Tom Morgan says that his offensive line for the Rams, this is one of the few games that all of them have been reasonably healthy. They were hurt early in the season, and then they got back healthy against Paramount, and then they had a few other injuries. Masterakis still has a bothered, kind of an injured neck, but he wanted to play, and he's out there blocking very well.
Last week we saw the big game, as it's called in the Long Beach area, the Paulie Wilson game. But in this here part, the Millikan Lakewood game is the big game. It all depends on your point of view. And so this week's big game, Rams and Lancers, incomplete. And both teams notably lacking in the offensive capabilities of what we saw a week ago. The passes missing, I mean, not by much at times, but this one missed by a bundle.
Now, this was a pass counter, Willie. Now, he didn't really square his feet and throw that football like we saw Derek Martin do when he rolls to that side. He turns and have nice footwork and turns it and rifles it. Now, Beaudry tried to throw off the back foot and really didn't get balance on that throw, and that may have been one of the reasons why it was incomplete.
Well, for fans of the Long Beach area, it's another year of the Jackrabbits and the rest of the Moore League. As with the CI playoffs coming up, that's what it's going to be. Pass in and out of the hands and nearly caught by Slater off the rebound. It went in and out of the hands of Kyle Moore. Eric Slater nearly Johnny on the spot, but he couldn't come up with it.
He had plenty of time, and he rifles this pass, and it goes in and out of the hands of number 13 for the Millikan Rams.
Actually, Keith Jackson of the Lancers nearly had a shot at it.
Right. He had a better shot than Ben Mixon did.
It was Slater who nearly made the grab for the Rams. That's another story.
Okay. We'll throw that one out.
11:06 left in the second half. I don't know if you're looking at that Millikan huddle, but have you checked out the shoes on Kyle Moore?
They're yellow.
They're yellow. They're great for Halloween and other nighttime activities on the road. You don't want to, you want people to see the pedestrian traffic. You're going to see those. Flags are down. This will come back as Beaudry won't even get a chance to get the play off as Matt Garcia makes the tackle behind the line on 4th down. So you can see that the Lancers will decline the penalty if it is indeed against the Rams. And the way both teams coming off the field, you can pretty much figure this one out.
Well, I think your terminology in years past, Willie, about this being a offensive struggle is really an apropos lyric, if you want to use that word, because both teams offensively have really shown some ineptitude in this first quarter and a half. Not quite even a quarter and a half.
That's because most folks call a 0-0 score a defensive struggle, and that, of course, an oxymoron in a sense. It's the offense is struggling. The defenses are doing just fine, thank you. 10:58 left, first half of action, no score in the ball game. Pitch goes back as Scott with the ball in a 5-yard gain. He's down to the bottom of that pile coming up. And when we saw Lakewood against Paramount, I do not recall Scott being much of a factor.
No, he wasn't, and he's come on since that time and have stepped into a starting position, have done quite well. because we had Gabe Hernandez
That's
there.
right. Not to be confused with Gabe Anderson of the Rams.
Gabe Anderson, that's what we were talking. I mean, let me be quiet.
Two different teams.
Yes.
As Vasconcelos in trouble, avoids one Ram, another, but can't avoid the rest. It was a virtual stampede. Vasconcelos, he was in some big-time trouble there.
He did a good job to get back to the line of scrimmage, I think. Well, actually, he gained about 3 yards on that play. Nine and a half minutes left in the first half. Still no score in the ball game. We're coming to you from the campus of Millikan High School. As the football appears to be loose, and it's Ram football. You could see immediately from the reaction by Vasconcelos that the ball didn't get to where it was supposed to be going. And by a second reaction, you could tell that the Lancers didn't come up with it either. The Lancers trying to go in the middle of that defensive line for the Rams and didn't get anything and wound up struggling for yardage, but fumbled the football.
And unfortunately for the Lancers, their offensive linemen are facing towards their blocking assignments, and their back is to the ball. So the Rams see the football loose on the ground. The Lancers are still blocking. Jordan, nice run. Nice spin. Let's go down, Eddie Van Geis.
Willie and Errol, someone that Lakewood's really missing tonight, their star quarterback and star safety, Todd Tomich, number 16. Todd, first of all, show us the hand and tell us about the injury.
Well, it was the last play of the game, and I really don't know how it happened. It was a spiral fracture of the 5th metacarpal, and they put 2 screws in it to straighten it out, and that's about it.
I love my team.
You love this game, don't you? You're not the biggest guy when you talk about height and weight. You give it your all the time.
It's not about size, it's about just heart, and I feel I have a big heart, and I just go out there and have fun.
And you're going to be ready for the basketball season.
I'm ready for the basketball team, and I can't wait.
Gentlemen, I also got to mention that he's being recruited by every school in the Ivy League. You got a 4-point average.
I got a 4.0, and grades are number 1. That's what I concentrate. Football second, basketball third.
I'll tell you, youngsters, take a look at Todd Tomich. He is a great example of what you want to be. I don't know what's bigger, Willie and Errol, his heart or the brains he's got upstairs. Let's go back up to the booth.
Thank you very much, Eddie. 8:21 left in the first half. No score, but the Rams driving after a fumble by the Lancers. Jordan dropped immediately. Well, with Tomich out, the Lancers, a team already in disarray, trying to get things jump-started under Vasconcelos. Tomich now going to have some problems on those recruiting trips with those metal detectors. with screws in his hands, that's going to be a tough one. I don't go for medical procedures that they shop at Home Depot for.
Well, the Rams are trying to knock on the door here on the 30-yard line. This is probably the closest they've been. No, actually it wasn't. They had a drive in the first quarter where they were down on like the 10, inside the 10-yard line.
That drive was virtually over after 3 consecutive penalties, dropped the Rams from 1st and goal from the 8 to 1st and goal from the 34. And that drive eventually would end in a missed field goal attempt.
Kyle Moore that time receiving the pass. Actually, he was getting a pretty good seal block from the other wide receiver on that play, and he really should have gotten closer to that block, and he might have gotten some extra yardage.
So it's 3rd down and 11, just about 12. Clock ticking. Moving along extremely quickly compared to 1 week ago. Roll to the left. Running out of time, nice move, gets another good block. Downfield, he's got a man by himself, but he can't come up with Weller. after all that, Errol, by an eyelash.
Yes, Dan Beaudry ran out of trouble. That shows you the athleticism that you really need in a quarterback. Now he rolls to his left on that rollout pattern, and he looks at a receiver. He's not open. Number 75, Joe Elkins tried to get him, and now he picks up some blockers, Beaudry, and he throws on the run a nice little floater, but Weller could not get under right off the fingertip.
And it's a field goal attempt coming up, but the Rams may get penalized for delay of game as they're a tad bit tardy getting their entire crew out there. They get it off, and the kick is blocked. Just remember, last week the difference at halftime was almost 30 points, so at least this is close.
Very competitive game between these two teams, and the winner still finds himself in the playoff picture. Now this is an attempted field goal, but it's blocked, and we're trying to get the number of that Lancer that blocked the field goal. But that was a big block. It's number 40 for the Lancers. Johnny Salas blocks the field goal.
Last week, Pauly, a 31-point lead at halftime. So it may not be pretty, but it's close. And you mentioned at the outset, it's going to be a competitive game, and thus far it is. Now who's looking for a silver lining?
Some of it rubbed off on
Scott. Scott, who is running the football pretty well in this first half, goes down on a pretty good hit by one of the Rams. So far, I'm sorry, but so far every time I've seen Scott carry the football, it's been a pick of 5 or 6.
Yeah, he's a nice, efficient runner, and he's running behind a pretty decent offensive line. At this time of the season, if everyone is healthy, that offensive line should be clicking on all cylinders.
In fact, in the opening series for the Lancers, first 3 plays were a pass to Scott, 2 runs by Scott. They had gotten 2 first downs. Then they gave the ball to Bresnahan. A penalty followed, and things fell apart from there. Could have been procedure, should have been procedure, possibly. Vasconcelos going downfield. I'll tell you what, his man, Joe Snee, had beaten Weller, but he just couldn't connect.
Snee, one of the newcomers on this Lancer team, after doing so well on the junior varsity last year, could have had that reception if it not been thrown a little bit too far. He had nice protection, Vasconcelos did, and he just overthrew it on the outside. He had his man beat, Josh Weller.
I'll tell you what, Snee didn't put a whole lot of moves on Weller either. He just went right on by. 3rd down and 4, big play for the Lancers with 5:29 left in the first half. Pass incomplete as it was intended for Snee. That bullet, however, may have been tipped on its way. And so on the field to punt it again is Paul Bice. Clock for what seems like one of the few times in the ball game stopped. 5:25 left in the first half. Bice standing back at his own 27-yard line. Jordan for Millikan, back to receive. Line drive, kind of kick, takes one bounce, Jordan picks it up, then laterals back to Weller. Weller, straight arm. If he gets a block, this could be something. Cuts back nicely, gets another block. He gets out to the 44-yard line of Lakewood. Credit the run to Weller, but credit the creation of that play to Jordan.
Yeah, Josh Jordan knew that he was going down. You're talking about good teamwork there, and then Weller shows some really nifty running. This has been an exciting game, Willie. We've seen a lot of nifty plays, even though it's been marred a little bit by penalties.
Right about here, Tony Peralta saying, "What are you doing?" And then he says, "Nice play."
Yeah. As a coach, I've done that many times. Why are you taking that 35-footer? Oh, it's a 3-pointer. Thank you very much.
What are you letting loose of the football at your own 15?
Yeah.
And then when it turns out into a 40-yard run, then you're glad he did it.
Okay.
But it was dangerous.
It was very, very dangerous. But, you know, what the heck? Because we both 1-2, you're trying to get into the playoffs.
That's right. No guts, no glory. If you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much space.
Joe Elkins, a very fine defensive lineman and offensive lineman, comes up with that nice tackle on Josh Jordan. This is a young Lancer team, Willie. The JVs are 8-1 so far this year, so we can expect some nice talent coming up for Lakewood next year. And on the other hand, the Rams are an experienced bunch. They have guys who've been on the varsity 2 and 3 years.
Well, one thing that you may look to as a factor down the road, we're looking at the Millikan Ram program as the pitch goes back to Jordan, and he goes down, no pickup on play. But as we look at past playoff appearances and so forth, there's now a Moore League weightlifting championship that occurs in league, and over the last 3 years in a row, 1993, 94, 95, the Rams have been the champion of that particular competition. And so in terms of strength, the team is getting stronger. The numbers, as we've seen over the last 4 years under Peralta, they have been getting bigger. And so that just looms as positive things for Coach Peralta and company as the program continues to progress under him. Beaudry. Now he's just looking for somewhere to go. I'll tell you what, if Beaudry had a couple more feet along that sideline, he might have cut back and done something, but he was run out of bounds finally by the Lancers.
I think we have to give credit at this point to the Lancers secondary. I mean, even though Beaudry has run amok in the backfield, he hasn't really completed a pass with all the scrambling, and it's because of the defensive backs for the Lancers have covered the receivers for the Rams.
Absolutely. Beaudry has a lot of yards running east and west, but this field faces north and south. Ergo, the problem. 4th and 13. The
Very
punt.
nice kick.
Chris Hyde's punt takes a Millikan bounce, and then it takes a great Millikan bounce as it bounces along the side. It did not go into the end zone, I do not believe. Wow, that is the ultimate in home field bounces.
I don't see why the Lancers did not catch the ball fair catch it or try to catch it and run. Now it drops right between two Lancers on about the 10-yard line. Why not fair catch the football?
99 out of 100 times that bounces right through the end zone.
That's right.
What are the odds of that ball? And then a great effort. I did not catch the number. I believe it was 21. Gabe Anderson, or it may have been one of the other players, Tony Garcia, 81. If we roll that back, I don't know if we can get the number on that player who tapped it back.
We've seen some exciting plays and nice bounces of the ball in this football game.
According to the truck, it was number 81. That would be Tony Garcia. And that was an exceptional effort. First down and 10 from very deep in Lakewood territory. And the football's loose. If it's recovered by Lakewood, it's also very close to a safety, depending on where it's grabbed. This is going to be a very, very arduous situation for the Lancers. There's 3 minutes, or actually now under 3 minutes left. It's 2nd down and 14, and I think the Rams are going to call time to put as much pressure as possible on the Lancers, and indeed they have. Timeout, we'll take a break with 2:56 left in the first half. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School football game of the week. It's often said that your best offense is a good defense, and right now the Rams are hoping that's the truth. If their defense can hold the Lancers, or possibly even force some sort of turnover, it'll be scoring time for the Rams. Let's wait and see. Vasconcelos, quick out, not quickly enough, however. The pass complete. Making the grab, was that Rulo? Or no, that was 88, Snee. That'll be 3rd and 9 coming up. Vasconcelos threw a changeup.
Well, he's used to throwing that during the baseball season.
I didn't see Snee in the crouch throwing out the 4 fingers, as Tim McCarver would tell us, but 2:50 left in the first half. Play went out of bounds, so the clock stopped. Lancers would like to get a first down, at least to get some punting room. The pass complete, and this is going to gain some big yards by Victor Martinez as he gets out to the 45-yard line. That the biggest play from scrimmage in the ball game for the Lancers, and boy, it couldn't come at a better time. You got your back to the wall, 3rd down and 9, back to the goal line, and you come up with this.
Running back just comes right out of the backfield, finds no one around him, 5 yards, and catches on about the 25, and just rumbles all the way to about the 43, 44-yard line. Josh Jordan makes the tackle.
They've said that no man is an island. Victor Martinez was on that play. 2:40 left first half, and now the Lancers can change their mode of thinking or alter their goals, so to speak. Instead of trying to just get some room to punt, they can now try and go for a score as that pass falls incomplete, intended for Martinez. But we'll take a break with 2:33 left in the first half. Hi, folks. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School football game of the week, 2nd down and 10. A screen set up to Scott. Scott gets a block, gets tripped up, but gets close to a first down. I'll tell you what, it didn't set up very nicely, but it turned out to be not too bad. At first, Vasconcelos didn't look like he was going to be able to find his receiver.
Well, it's just kind of a double fake in the backfield, and he finds Scott over there in the flat. I mean, he really shifted the defense on one side of the field, and then the screen was set up. And it got some really nice first down yardage for the Lancers.
Station to station, just keep the chains moving. Buys you some new downs, and there's still plenty of time in the first half. 2:25. Football at the 46. Vasconcelos, and he goes down after throwing the pass. He was under Faris Alfar at 5'9", 195. I'll tell you what, they must have weighed him while he was hanging from something, because he looks a lot bigger than 195.
And he administers a big hit right after Vasconcelos threw the football. And those are the kind of shots that quarterbacks have to take. They have to stay in that pocket and look over the defense and find where their receivers are and take that hit near the end.
Too bad we don't have each camera isolated with a slow-mo, because Matt Ford, our camera operator down there, nearly made the grab, but smartly saved the camera instead. He knows where his bread's buttered.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
2nd and 10. Vasconcelos, he's got Scott. No, he doesn't, and it could have been, should have been picked off by Weller. And if Weller picks that one off, he is gone.
Weller has had some opportunities tonight to make some key receptions, one for a touchdown possibly, and then an interception.
The one that was dropped earlier from Beaudry, maybe I could understand because it had a little zip to it. That was virtually a fair catch. I mean, that had some arc. And Weller's a receiver on the offensive side of the football, so there's no excuse there. 3rd and 10, Lancers fortunate to still have the football, not to mention fortunate to still be tied. Vasconcelos, receiver bumped at the line, virtually held, and the pass will go out of bounds. I'll tell you what, Hendrick Robertson was held at the line of scrimmage.
And you know, the interesting thing, Willie, in this football game is that the defensive line and the linebackers for the Rams are not very aggressive.
Watch 10 at the bottom of the screen. He was bumped at the line, and it went for more than a bump. You want to go to your left, and the guy wants to go to his opposite side, and he's taking you with him. I don't know.
Bice has been punting the ball real well all game. He's back there for the Lancers.
That's, I guess, one of the flip sides when you're having a down year. Your punter gets a lot of time on the field and usually becomes a pretty good part of your team, as Bice Gets a roll, rolls it just about inside the 20. That's what you try to do.
You know, the point I was trying to make earlier, Willie, is that the defensive line and linebackers are just hitting and reading and trying to find out what the Lancers are trying to do. They're not blitzing their linebackers. They're not very aggressive, even though they're coming after the quarterback. But they're trying to find out what the offense of the Lancers are going to do. So they have a lot of time to have their receivers run good routes as we look at Tony Peralta there and Tom Morgan.
Interestingly, both teams have run the football fairly well, yet for some reason are tempted to continually try to get the passing game going, and that seems to cause their drives to get into third and long situations where it forces them to pass again. This pass, Weller makes the grab this time, breaks one tackle. He misses the one where he's absolutely alone, and then with some noise, some traffic, and loud footsteps, he comes up with it.
It forces you to concentrate more when things are happening real quick. He just goes up, makes a nice athletic catch, and a lot of courage right in the center of the field, and eludes one tackle, and gets mowed down at the end.
DeAndre Grant doing a little mowing of his own. That's a John Deere run.
Well, when you get the wide receivers into the football game and get some passes complete, as we look at a no-huddle offense by the Rams at 139, then it makes a runner like DeAndre Grant up the middle look even better than he is.
Weller went out on the pattern rather casually, and then Bodie threw it rather casually at one hopper. I don't know if that was just intended to stop the clock, but in essence, that's what it does with 1:33 left. That may have been the case when you think about it. 2 plays called in the huddle. You run the first play, you get a good pickup, then you run that second play. That's a clock stopper. 2nd down and 10. At least we'll give him the benefit of the doubt on that. DeAndre Grant, who has been virtually unstoppable. Then Josh Jordan. He gets hit, but still picks up about 7.
That was a great hit at the end of that. Josh Jordan is a nice outside runner. Now let's look at this. DeAndre Grant, nice block early in that after that handoff. Now watch it, he split the middle, but he gets leveled right here at the end by number 21 Scott.
And how about that
screen? Tucker.
Tony Garcia, that little screen. Meanwhile, down on the field, DeAndre Grant again doing some mowing as he gets a first down. I tell you, it must not be a pleasure to get hit by that young man. He's a load. Timeout called by Millikan with 1:02 left, driving inside the 20. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School football game of the week. I'm Willie Padilla, along with me, Errol Parker, Eddie Van Geist, the rest of our CBI sports crew. 1:02 showing on the clock, Errol, and you and I were talking at this break just moments ago. The Lancers having all kinds of problems stopping DeAndre Grant with his no-frill style of running. At this point, I keep giving it to him.
Well, you also have a back like Josh Jordan that complements DeAndre Grant really well because he's an outside runner and Grant is an inside. So you got Mr. Outside and Mr. Inside, and you're using them both. They're using them both on this particular drive very well.
Flag is down. I don't think it's going to count if it was a good play. And then a flag comes down for a late hit. Jordan got popped about 4 steps after the pass went 4 feet over his head. If he almost comes up with it and you could say, well, I thought he was bobbling it, make the grab, that's one thing. But when it's that far over the receiver's head and you're still 1, 2, 3, 4 steps out, now, after the 3rd step, I think the flag is deserved.
Absolutely. I mean, you should be able to see the football and pull up because that is crucial. Now, this probably will be offsetting penalties.
Well, one was during the snap, the procedure. And then there's the personal foul.
It won't be offsetting.
Well, see, one is a dead ball call.
Okay.
So what's going to happen is they're going to mark 5 back against the Rams for the procedure, and then 15 forward against the Lancers for the personal foul after the play.
So that'll be a +10 for the Rams.
Right. So there would be a first down. Oh, wait a minute. You've also got half the distance to the goal, so it may not be a first down. This becomes a mathematical nightmare.
Well, for both teams, you have 2 penalties that really should not happen. Procedure penalty down there that kills a drive, and then a personal foul that nullifies the penalty. I mean, both coaching staffs are probably pulling their hair out.
So the football is at the 18, marked back to the 23. Half the distance would be 11.5. And Jordan spins, goes backwards, and goes down. So the 11.5 marked off from the 23 gets us to where we're at, about the 11 or 12 yard line. So it all makes sense. And a timeout called by Millikan with second down coming up and 47 seconds left in the first half.
What does it take to become one of the most experienced players in television? Remarkable reach, a powerful presence, incredible quick response, excellent reception, an upscale viewership, a captivating personality, a winning approach, and a decisive attitude. ESPN, the sporting way to channel your message.
Hi, folks. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School football game of the week. This clock here at Millikan's Stadium with the 10th of a second marker. 47.4 ticks left on the clock. 47.4. So they can get that field goal off at the buzzer, I take it. And that's about as state-of-the-art as it gets. I don't know of an NFL team with a 10th of a second.
No, usually see in indoor gyms the 10th of a second.
As opposed to an outdoor gym. As the pass appears to be complete, yes, but a flag is down, so wait. Wait before you celebrate. Let's see what Aldean's got to say. It could be premature celebration.
Tom, get 2 flankers.
And the way this game has gone, it's virtually a lock to be against the Rams. You don't see Beaudry celebrating, and he's right there.
Now he's celebrating.
They're waving it off. So after a summit worthy of Iceland, the officials decide it's good. And now the point after attempt with 39 seconds left. Caceres to try the point after, and it is good as it sneaks inside the post.
Now Kyle Moore just runs an out pattern, a long out, and it's a nice throw by Beaudry. And the junior varsity most valuable player, when he was on there, makes a fine catch, and it was good defense on the part of Kiwan Owens.
Owens got to get a hand there. We'll talk more about it when we come back. 7-0 Rams. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School football game of the week. Errol and I discussing the merits of secondary defense, and
I think you made a good point about Kiwan Owens. He leaped, which was a nice effort, but he should have had that hand out, even though that ball was thrown perfectly to avoid a defender.
In fact, I agree. The angle may have been so oblique, Owens had no shot to even get a fingertip on it, but that's his best shot because that chest thing in the back isn't going to get it done.
That's not going to get it. Well, Coach Peralta was concerned about his team jumping on the Lancers early, but they did not do that. They didn't want to give the Lancers any credit. A 1-17. You don't want to give them any confidence. But the Lancers have hung in there, but now they're down 7-0. but the game is still within reach. We only have about 39.7 seconds, and anything can happen, as we have seen in the 9 years that we've done these broadcasts.
In fact, if it can happen, it just might. And I'll tell you what, the Rams and the Lancers have both really kicked themselves when they've not needed it. There's been the fumble by Lakewood that set up the touchdown. Flag comes down at the end of the play. We've seen Millikan get to about the 8, commit 3 consecutive penalties for 25 yards to move themselves out of field goal position. The Lancers not only killed one of their own drives, but also extended one of Millikan's with personal fouls in the opening minutes of the game. And now a clip against Lakewood is going to move them out of virtually any shot of a score here in the closing moments of the first half.
In the last 2 weeks, we have seen an inordinate amount of penalties on these 4 teams that we've covered. And I don't know what's going on, but coaching staff really needs to get it together with some of these players in terms of the penalties.
I pretty much go with the anatomically correct football player and say, kids, front, back. Can't block in the back, got to hit him in the front.
Yeah, it's got to be that basic.
Just, if you're listening, kids, that's it, just in a nutshell. .7, and Vasconcelos takes a knee, and I agree with that. You're tempting the gods if you do anything other than that. And then again, but we've seen Lakewood fumble the football trying to hand it off.
Well,
hey, you got the snap. Consider yourselves fortunate. Get out of here with a 7-0 deficit.
Well, maybe you're right, but don't pass the ball maybe, but run it. You might break a tackle and run for a touchdown. But they're down 7-0, and they have a whole nother half to try to get it together.
I agree with you, except for the clip that put them back inside their own 20. There, you're in a position where you're taking more of a chance than what you'd stand to gain, because you're going to have to break off an 85-yarder as opposed to possibly fumbling the football. Meanwhile, as usual, week after week, our own Eddie Van Geist gets an opportunity to speak with one of the coaches, although last week, for the first time this season, he did not, but I could understand why, considering there was a 31-point difference at halftime. Markedly different ball game this week. Last week, the most points ever scored in the game of the week. This week, a different story, as Eddie Van Geist is going to go solo again. Eddie.
Willie and Errol try to get a word with Coach Dunaway of Lakewood. He looked at me and he said, no way. Walked in the locker room. I think he's going to be pretty harsh to his team. Hey, a very tight first half. Millikan leading 7-0, a score late in the second quarter. How tight is this rivalry? Well, if you look at the Hamilton Trophy, in the past 6 years, there are 3 Lakewood victories, 3 Millikan victories. But I've got to say, as tight as the score was last year and the way things are close tonight, this touchdown in the first half by Millikan is the most important one. Let's go back upstairs to Willie and Errol.
I agree with Eddie. It's the most important one until the next one.
Yeah, of course. Just like any game in the Moore League, in terms of one week you have a big game and another week you don't.
7-0. Rams lead it over the Lancers, but it's only halftime. I'm Willie Padilla, along with me, Errol Parker and Eddie Van Geist. Stay with us. Our coverage on Long Beach High School Football Game of the Week continues when we come back. Hi, folks. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School Football Game of the Week. We're moments away from the beginning of the second half. Of course, this is our 9th game during this 1996 season. It's been a season full of roller coasters, as it has been for virtually every team in the city. As we began our opener with a Millikan game, a win over the Warren Bears. Wilson defeated La Mirada, a good game for the Bruins. Paramount and Lakewood got together. Paramount came out on the top end of that one, a very physical game. And then a thriller as the Aztecs came back with 2 touchdowns in the last 5 minutes to defeat Pauley by 1. Millikan over Linwood, that was another last-minute thriller as the Rams won that one by 6. Then we began Moore League coverage with a Bruin victory over Millikan. Jordan and Wilson got together, and the Bruins came out on top of that one, but they were not so successful in the 3rd week of the season.
What a thriller.
Yes, and of course you're going to see our Moore League coverage Saturdays at 9 a.m., Sundays at 9:30, and this is where we're at in the Moore League standings. And this is almost obsolete already, as I'd bet by now Jackrabbits have already won a game. That's the Rams thus far during Moore League play, and This is the Bruins, 2-1. Their loss last week to the Jackrabbits. Poly Jackrabbits, you could probably add a W in their game against Jordan, as my crystal ball seems to indicate.
It was 28-6 at halftime.
Panthers 2-1. They'll be 2-2 if that score held up. And the Lancers finally on the scoreboard in Moore League play, but that's it thus far. And then Compton 0-3 in Moore League play. They're 0 for 99 as far as the 99 games we've covered. Long Beach area teams, we're still looking for their first W.
Onside kick.
And that, I believe, was touched by Lakewood before the 10 yards. And if that's the case, it'll still belong to Millikan, but I'm not sure that necessarily happened. The Lancers came up with it, but there's going to be a discussion. Now, if a Lancer player touches it prior to the ball going the necessary 10 yards for an onside kick, then it's like downing the ball. Watch. It's got to go 10. So it's got to go. It was touched by a Lancer player. That's a ram ball right there. And we don't call the referee, Aldine, the dean of officials, for nothing, as he did not need a replay to make that call.
Gutsy call by the Lancers, nonetheless catching the Rams a little bit by surprise, although the Rams recovered and got the football. But apparently whatever Coach Dunaway told the Lancers, hey, we have to be a little bit more aggressive. That's onside kick first thing off the bat.
Timing and execution. The timing was great on that call. Execution not as good as the Lancers 2 yards shy of a perfect onside kick. And timeout called by the Lancers, as they're going to have to recover a little bit from the disappointment. 2 seconds gone in the first half, or second half. It's 11:58 left in the third. Let's take a break. Hi, folks. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School football game of the week. And during that 30-second break, 2 seconds into the second half, I looked at Errol and said, this is a team in trouble. You're down by 7. You're going to need your TOs down in the later part of this game. And after 2 ticks off the clock, you're calling timeout? That's not good.
Yeah, we just kind of wasted a timeout, but we'll see.
DeAndre Grant, he's been a load. How about that? 2-point reversal.
Well, he's better when he goes north and south, and he kind of went east and west a little bit on that play, and he may be easier to bring down when that happens.
I believe it was Lewis McCridis, 225 pounds, and it would have taken that to get DeAndre Grant 250 down, and with some relative ease. That was virtually sumo. Players shaken up for the Lancers. Joe Bresnahan. 2nd down and 9 coming up from Millikan. 7-0. As the give goes to Jordan. Jordan can't slip the tackle. That's a fine play for the Lancers by Matt Garcia. Garcia slithered through and tripped up Jordan. Now 3rd and 7. The only break for Millikan as they face 3rd down and 7 is the fact that they got the football virtually in Lancer territory to begin the second half after the unsuccessful onside kick. Third and 7. Rams need to get to the 38. Jordan in motion. The pass complete to Weller. Weller takes a hit, but gets the first down at the 29, and I virtually made a mistake, as just before he made the grab, I said, Weller's got it for a first down. That's based on having seen him in earlier games make clutch grabs. This game, he's dropped a couple, and now the Lancers, after having committed a couple faux pas already, commit a personal foul. They're not playing very well here to begin the second half.
Well, that was good protection and a nice throw where Weller just does a curl pattern right in the center of the field, turns around, has presence of mind, and tries to pick up a few more yards.
The tackle made, I don't know how long we can roll this and where we're going to see this personal foul, but apparently a personal foul at the end of the play. So far, nothing. I hear a little talk. Nothing. When I think it's got to be somewhere right in there where I still hadn't seen anything. Jordan on the first down and 10. Slips back, spinning, and down he goes. Gets inside the 10. When your back gets turned around, that's where you lose the football, because you've got players driving you backwards and the ball sometimes gets propelled out of your hands. So that's rather dangerous, not only to the player, but also to the possession.
It certainly is. And Jordan himself coming up with that untimely fumble last game. You would think he had his head down this game and in practice, but according to Coach Peralta, he's bounced back pretty well.
Of course, some of his most spectacular drives on similar plays, as that's a nice pass to Weller. Touchdown, Rams. Millikan did enough to earn the 6. Lakewood did an awful lot, though, to help him out.
Certainly did. That personal foul did not help at all, but that was a nice timing pattern with Weller and Beaudry hooking up right there in the end zone. Beaudry threw the ball where Weller is supposed to be, not where he was when he released the ball, and that it was a beautifully executed pass pattern and throw.
Indeed, from our vantage point, I think we got kind of the same look that Beaudry did, because Weller disappeared, and when you saw him again, he had the pigskin for 6. So Weller's recovered from a tough first half, and this is the second time we've seen a Ram player down. That's the kicker who is down on his wallet. Caceres, there's the touchdown pass. How about that?
Yeah, very, very nice execution.
Take a break. Rams up by. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School football game of the week. Is the Millikan Rams playing host, and not a very nice host thus far, to the Lakewood Lancers. They invited them to the party, but aren't letting them play, so to speak, as they have not let the Lancers on the board. Lancers, as this kickoff out of bounds. I think what we're seeing here is testimony as to why these teams' goals have been adjusted a few times during this 1996 season. The special teams, and I'm just talking this third quarter, we've seen an onside kick that was not executed, the ensuing kickoff out of bounds, a personal foul that gets the team on the doorstep. It's just hasn't been the most well played, and then a penalty on the kickoff that went out of bounds.
Well, at least the Millikan Rams are a team that won all of their preseason games and have won 1 league game, so they have something to boast about. They're 6-2. But on the other side, the Lancers are struggling this season. They have won 1 more league game, but they've lost 7 others. So you're looking at a team that's pretty frustrated, even though they're coming off a victory over Compton High School last week.
Well, Lakewood got throttled earlier this season by Pollard. Lakewood throttled Compton. So I think it gives you an idea of the levels of competition between the different teams, as Kevin Scott, he has been the one ray of sunshine for the Lancers. And you know what? In a game that is still relatively close, just 2 touchdowns, 1 Kevin Scott run and 1 missed tackle, and it's a different ball game. It is 1st and 10 for the Lancers. Most teams, when a kickoff goes out of bounds, they'll take it at the 35-yard line. Lancers chose to re-receive, and it was a 7-yard bonus for them. Actually, an 8-yard bonus. It was out to the 43. Scott trying to cut back. Instead, slips on the dirt portion of the grass field. That portion of the field has seen an awful lot of work.
That play turned in by Alfred Durr. Really fine defensive back. And that's his responsibility, is to turn that play in and let the linebackers make the tackle. And he did it exactly that.
There's part of that Ram defensive line, Michael Odom. And dare I say, a big part of that defensive line.
Michael Odom, a upward bound student at Cal State Long Beach.
Won't be playing football there unless they revive the sport, as Scott trying to bounce back, and that's exactly what it does, bounces back, but not forward. He gets tripped up by Odom after a loss of 4.
Well, the center of that defensive line for the Rams, which is Odom and Sani, have done a good job all year. And they're doing a pretty good job tonight as we see the Rams. And go ahead.
The U,
yeah,
the embraceable U.
Yeah, you know, I've been working with you for 10 seasons. I knew that you were going to say that.
Well, you know, that U, she's a looker, as U's go. The fake, roll to the right, the pass complete, and Martinez goes out of bounds about 5 yards away from anyone. Martinez, I don't know if his momentum took him out. You got to keep going.
Yeah. Just a pass, kind of nice fake by Vasconcelos, and a rollout pattern. Has plenty of time and throws on the run. Martinez's momentum, he should have just made some choppy steps and got more yardage, but he went on out of bounds, like our friend from Pittsburgh.
Franco Harris. Has it been 9 years?
Yeah.
You know me all too well. First down and 10. Again, the fake to Scott. Vasconcelos down the middle's got a man. Complete to the 10. Here come the Lancers. Joe Snee with the grab. Suddenly, the Lancers have been sparked to life.
Now, Snee runs a nice look-in pattern, a rollout by Vasconcelos, and the cornerback was burned, whoever that was over there, and that was Weller. Weller was burned on an inside pattern, and his momentum takes him down to like the 10-yard line.
Well, I think he was expecting a little support from the inside, from the safety down the middle.
And he really should have received it. I don't know what the cover they were in at that particular time, but it should have received some help from the safety.
The give, and not much there for Darrell Davis. And I don't know, I'm somewhat stunned. First down and 10, you finally get inside the red zone, and Davis gets his second carry of the game. I don't know, I keep going to my go guy, Scott, unless he needs a breather, or you've got kids that they've been running the football all season long. And not that Davis doesn't deserve a shot, but you know, you get to the red zone, get your A-team out there. Vasconcelos buys some times with a roll. It's a lot harder than it looks, folks. Rolling, running, throwing, and then actually trying to hit somebody while you're doing all that.
And if they're going to the short side of the field, they're on the right hash mark, so they don't have a whole lot of room.
And of course, that's why I point out how difficult it is. That's why a lot of players prefer to play defensive secondary, like our producer director Rob Meckhamson.
Is that what he did? I thought he played soccer or something.
He could run and roll, but throwing it, forget it, he had a hard enough time catching it. Third down and goal for the Lancers. They have got to have a touchdown. No question about it. They go, and they should have had it. Hendrick Robertson, that's as close to 6 as he's going to get tonight, I think, unless he catches one, because he was in the end zone. The football was in his hands. You don't get closer than that.
Well, you know, I can't help it. I feel for the Lancers. You know, they've had a rough season, and then their opportunity to score here, and you can't hang on to the football. Your heart really goes out to the Lancers, at least mine does. I really would have liked to have seen them score on that particular play. It would have made a better game right now, and also
they're going for a field goal, and they're down by 14. I'll discuss the mathematical problems with it. As the snap is bad, the return, I'll look for a silver lining in this. Paul Bice at least did not turn into Garo Yepremian.
Yeah, it's really been tough for the Lancers. I mean, I really thought that they were going to score on that particular drive. They had an excellent opportunity to do it, and then they came down and couldn't get it in. And then they tried to go for 3, and the snap was a pretty good snap. It just was mishandled.
Well, that's twice that a ball went between a Lancer's hands and in and out, and both of them should have been caught. First, the touchdown, would-be touchdown pass to Hendrick Robertson, and then Joe Snee as the holder. But my question comes in even going for the field goal. If you think about it, the Lancers, if they kick the field goal, are down by 11. That means they still have to score 2 touchdowns.
Well, I can understand them going for to get on the board, get at least 3 points out of that drive. When you have a fourth down situation, you go for the touchdown, you get nothing. You go for the field goal, and you get at least 3. I think that's the
Well, they went for the field goal, and they got nothing.
Well, yeah, but you know, it was a try, and you know that was a chip shot for most teams. So I can understand why they went for the field goal.
Well, I can understand going for the field goal because it would make it 14-3. You score 2 touchdowns. You don't have to worry about two-point conversions and so forth. But the Lancers have only gotten into the red zone once all game, and this was it. So it's not like touchdown scoring opportunities have been coming all game. So when you think about it in those terms, it's your first time all game, and it's halfway through the third quarter. You don't know when the next one's going to come, and certainly you're not expecting 2 more. You can't go for a field goal. Going long, broken up. And very nearly, and probably should have been, intercepted. And I think that is the impression and expression by Kawan Owens.
Been a very frustrating game for the Lancers. He really had it right in his arms, and his own player may have distracted him.
He's going, Tasha, what you doing? You just broke up my interception.
But when that ball is in the air, a defensive player is going after either a bat down or interception. He's not really knowing where his other guy is unless he calls him off.
Although, you know, you're not playing looking at uniforms a whole lot, so that was a smart play by Hardy. Beaudry, it's time to ad-lib. And right now he's doing his Indiana Jones impression from the frying pan into the fryer. But this time, unlike Jones, who gets into 3 sequels, he goes down.
Well, one of the things that the receivers for the Rams are not doing when Beaudry is scrambling is coming back to the football so that he can see where they are. They continue to run away from him, which gets him in a lot of trouble.
I agree. Right here, the receivers should be coming back to him and said they're all going downfield like, I'm open.
That's right.
Like he can throw it 40 yards on the run.
Plus, he can't really see them because he's being rushed by about 4 Lancers. And as we look at Tony Peralta talking to Beaudry, trying to untangle whatever went wrong on that play.
Chris Hyde spins a line drive. Picked up by the Lancers. It's Marley Tucker. He's got a whole lot of wheels, but he doesn't have the football. The Rams recover at the 25. He got popped, and coming up with it was Tony Garcia. Garcia has had a big game.
He certainly has. The transfer from Poly has had a big game. He's a really good athlete, and he's a hard worker according to the coaching staff. Has some good hands, and that was demonstrated on that particular play.
Now, Tucker takes a pop, coming in the opposite direction. Nice hit by Alfred Durr.
Alfred Durr, we've said that name several times tonight. I think the scouts are beginning to look at this young man. He's a fine cornerback.
Flag comes down, and we can roll that back. There's a delay game against the Rams. If we can roll that back and take a look at Alfred Durr zeroing in on Tucker, because he knows that Tucker's about to reverse field, and he's coming at it's past his speed. Watch here. Tucker is going to his right, and there's Alfred Durr, number 12, knowing that Tucker's going to come right back at him. And then just levels him, knowing Tucker had no idea he was there. That's what caused the fumble, the big hit, and the element of surprise. Now Beaudry going for it all. Up top, he's got a man. Another close one. Kyle Moore, golden shoes, but his hands couldn't get it. It was close.
Kyle Moore started in last year's game against Lakewood, caught 2 touchdown passes, could have had one today, but he broke concentration. I was surprised that he was as open as he was. There was no one around him.
And did you see Keith Jackson's expression after it was dropped? He looked back at his secondary mates and where's the help? Where's the inside help? because Jackson wasn't close. Jordan meanders his way, and I guess that's the best way to put it. He meandered his way to about the 16. That's the way rivers are built.
Well, you know, one of the reasons, going back to that play, Willie, that there was no free safety. The free safeties were sucked in by the run, and then there was no help inside.
Meandering. That is a classic example. 3rd down and a yard. Jordan's got the 1st down, cuts to the 10. A flag's going to bring it back, but he's down to the 1. There'll be a holding or an illegal block. I guess we should start calling this Football 101, as we're going to dissect the penalty on the near side as, watch the cut. The holding's going to be out on the right. There, you've got some jerseys. Stuart Hodge was held.
Well, you know, that's the reason why I'm not going to ever be a football coach, because I don't know whether I could really stand that. You know, a nice run nullified by an obviously holding play when you grab someone's shirt. Well, I just couldn't do it. I don't have any hair now. I would have to pick out my brains if I was a football coach.
Like that Clint Eastwood classic, but call it Fistful of Jersey?
I'm telling you, I just really don't understand it.
Like he was going to get away with it. They've got like 6 officials out there, all watching you. Thought he was going to get away with it. Pass too short to Weller. That'll bring up 4th down and 6. We're talking about the Lancers and how few opportunities they've had in the red zone. The Rams have had very few opportunities, and they have not capitalized on the ones that they've had. They've only been in there once, scored a touchdown on that. Then the second one was on a long play that eventually led to a red zone opportunity that they did score. However, in the first half, we saw them get to the 8, commit 3 penalties, move back 25 yards, and then they were too far away for a field goal attempt. So I think this would be only their 4th trip to the red zone, and they're just sniffing it right now. The pass, incomplete, way too high, and now there's some extracurricular activity. And I love the tail end of that is the Millikan lineman pushes a Lancer and keeps him down on the ground. And then when everyone starts to notice, both hands go up as if it's not me.
Of course not. I didn't do anything.
It wasn't Santiago Banuelos, according to him and his Lancers. Couldn't have been. My hands were in the air. But he's fingered as the guilty guy. But then again, it's the always costly offsetting penalties.
Well, I don't know if they should just take that out of the playbook or rule book in terms of offsetting penalty. Now, what does that do? One guy slugs another, so offsetting penalties, let's do it all over, guys.
If you're booting them and kicking them out of the game, that's fine. As 4:04 left in the 3rd quarter. As Errol being accosted in the press box. Now that's a first in 9 years. But then again, we thought we'd see everything eventually. Vasconcelos again had a man. Well, at least the passing game's getting closer. They're getting to their receivers.
A lot of drop passes tonight by receivers, and that's very frustrating for a quarterback who throws the ball really well, and the wide receiver have the ball hit him all in the hands and breaks concentration and drops the football.
Well, let's qualify that. He's just starting to throw the ball well. It's taken a while to, as being a quarterback's not an easy job. And then taking over in the middle of the season when all the teams are starting to hit their stride and you're a little bit behind makes it even more difficult. And now when you're starting to feel it and getting the passes there and then they're not grabbing them, that's got to be frustrating. Vasconcelos, very poor fake on the screen, and that's the result. On the spot was Randy Scott.
When you have linebackers zeroing in on where the running backs go. They can smell a screen out there, but they don't commit themselves till they see where the quarterback is going to actually throw the football. Now, the linebackers are not blitzing, so they're really playing center field, and here they come.
Scott arrived at about the same time as the football.
You got to block these guys if you're going to have a screen. You can't let them run through you.
And even a little bit of a fake would be helpful. 3rd down and 20 for the Lancers, and they're deep in their own territory, about 16. And Vasconcelos is in trouble, rolls away from his end zone, gets a nice block. That was a quality block.
Got a hurt Lancer out there around the 5-yard line.
That was the player who threw the block. He wasn't blocking anybody small. He was blocking Jeremy Moore, 6'1", 195. The player shaken up. Was that Bresnahan? I didn't. We can see that play again. The block is where the injury seems to have occurred. In fact, it was Taja Hardy, number 2, not 8. Watch the block. Hardy throws a good one, not in the back, but on the side. That's legit, but it's got to hurt.
Yeah.
Hardy's used to hitting, not.
It might have been a shoulder that he injured because he did block him with a shoulder.
Well, you try not to pull him up from a shoulder if that's what he's injured.
It looks like an ankle or something like that.
Yeah, that makes a little more sense. How about Vasconcelos, the quarterback, helps the young man up? Now, maybe it was when he plants. A little bit of a Charlie horse kind of thing. Get bumping bones. And Moore's got some big bones. So you knew who was going to get the best of that collision. Punting situation, and Lakewood lacking a body.
They may not get this off. Of course, the clock is not running.
Well, the ball not made ready for play until there. But still, another example, I think, of a team that is not quite clicking yet. And this is the 9th game of the season. You've got to be in some sort of flow by now. The snap, and another good punt. I'll tell you, the Lancers, Paul Bias has been having a pretty good game.
Another
flag is down. I love the return, but it's not going to count. Kyle Moore this time. You'd think we could get through a minor portion of this game without seeing a yellow flag. That does not indicate poor sports as much as it indicates just athletes not well versed in what they're supposed to be doing. There you go. That flying body, the guilty party. I'm not sure if it was Matt Williams. It appeared to be number 25.
We have seen some fine runs. Of course, maybe that's the reason why they turn out to be fine runs, is because you have some penalties. But some nice efforts by running backs and punt returners, and then only to be nullified by penalties.
Well, I think for the officials, the point of view or the stance would be that had this player not clipped, the player clipped would have been in position to make the tackle.
Absolutely.
Thus, everything you gain from that shouldn't have been anyway.
But then sometimes we see
then the punitive penalty gets you back 15 yards.
Well, sometimes we see players who have nothing to do with the initial contact get a penalty, and that hurts even more.
I believe we saw one like that last week where a player's at the 10 ready to score and the clip occurs at the 25.
You didn't even have to block the guy. Leave him alone.
You had to look for someone to clip. That's not real bright. One thing to clip when the guy turns his back, when you look for someone to clip, that's when you're on the JVs. 2:14 left in the third quarter. It's DeAndre Grant. I like this guy's style.
I like his style. I like Jermaine Mack. I like Herman Ho-Ching, grueling and punishing runners.
And look at Eddie Van Geis as he runs across the field at midfield. That sprint across the field, I tell you what.
He's a hard-working reporter. Look at him.
Some moves. He had some moves.
Okay, he's in shape, too.
He runs like DeAndre Grant. I'm talking about speed, not not carrying would-be tacklers. Of course, he's just coming off a knee injury from last year. The one-hop pitch picked up by Jordan. The coaches tell you, just recover it. Don't worry about running it. Jordan was trying to do both and just fortunate to come up with it.
Well, we've seen some fortuitous bounces for the Rams in terms of balls bouncing right back to them, and we've seen some other kind of tricky bounces like the one down on the 5-yard line that should have gone in the end zone, but tap danced on the 1-yard line and then fell dead.
It's called home field advantage.
That's right. Well, if we were at Jordan, it would be called
home dirt advantage.
Okay, a la Mike Ono.
Errol's been my straight man all too long.
Okay.
1:05 left in the third.
I'm expecting a check in the mail.
So am I. We got to talk to the powers that be. That second down play, good for only a yard. Under a minute. And the clock was stopped. Why? Because there's holding. And let's get a report from Eddie Van Geis.
William Errol, injury report number 2, Taja Hardy of Lakewood. I was talking to the trainer, Chris. They were working on him. It's a right ankle, but he was already doing sprints on the sidelines. The word is he will return to action. Let's go back up to the booth.
Thank you for that report, Eddie. And we're glad to see the young man apparently is doing a lot better.
58.6 left on the third quarter clock, which has been incredibly slow third quarter because of an inordinate amount of penalties. Beaudry stands back like a gunslinger, buys some time, completes the pass to Weller. Nice tackle made at the end of the play by Marley Tucker. And Weller is shy of the first down, and I'm not sure the Rams will get another play off before the end of the third quarter. But it'll be fourth down coming up.
Now this was a nice throw, Willie. He gets out of trouble. He really gets a lot of good protection, but the Lancer defensive backs have it. Everyone covered except for Weller doing a drag, and it was a very nice tackle just before the first down mark.
10 ticks left. Rams line it up on 4th and a yard. And there's a first down as we reach the end of the third quarter. No, we don't. That's why I don't like this 1/10 of a second left on the clock, Harold. Take a look at this third quarter clock.
1/10 of a second.
And now we've reached the end of the third quarter. We're at the end of the third. 14-0 Rams. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School football game of the week. Up here in the press box, we're just joking with folks from the Millikan side as down on the field. That's
Josh Jordan running the football.
It had the appearances of DeAndre Grant the way the Lancers were having problems tackling him, but it was Josh Jordan. We're just joking about the person who came up in the press box and accosted you as Jordan drilled but stayed on his feet.
And it's drugged by the Lancers about another 4, almost 5 yards.
Try to drive him backwards.
Yes.
not drag him forward, though. But that fan who was perturbed by the loud music on the field took personal umbrage with Errol. And nobody from the Millikan side really was going out to help you.
No, I was accosted. I'm going to file.
I think they saw that you were in trouble and they didn't want to be in your footsteps.
Well, we have another flag on the play. Looks like it's going to be against Millikan. I don't know what kind of call it, but it's in the backfield, and that's an indication.
I'm going up there.
Aldine, who has had his fair amount of airtime anymore, and the other officials will ask for equal time.
He's going to get an agent or something to get more time. They waved the flag off this time.
Second wave, that's undue time for the official.
Yeah, that's very unusual.
I think Aldine is a little bonus time there. I'm going to have to talk to him about that.
Aldine is a fine basketball official. I remember when I was coaching basketball at Poly, I used to see him often at many of the games.
He's a quality guy. a lot of fun to talk to, well versed on a variety of subjects outside of sports as well. 2nd down and 4 for the Rams. The give to Jordan. He loses the football. Who's got it? Lancers. I was telling you before, for the Lancers, trips into the red zone have been rare. So why are you going for a field goal? For the Rams, they've been rare. They've only had 4 trips in. They're now 2 out of 4 as this one comes up empty. Actually, they were in the red zone the time before and came up empty then. 2 out of 5 then.
I still agree with myself. And going for a field goal, going for a field goal was okay. They didn't. It made me look bad because he missed the field goal.
They've got 12 minutes or 11 minutes left to get back in that red zone, Errol. Twice. But Errol, you know, we just call them like we see them.
That's all we do.
Can't do much more than that.
That's right.
1st and 10. Lancers. Vasconcelos gets it to his man. Ouch. Victor Martinez had it.
What can you say? We've seen a lot of that tonight. Either breaking concentration or something of that nature, as we see a bunch of wild and crazy guys out there, and
a lot of wild and crazy guys.
I mean, a lot of them, and there's Eddie Van Dyke guys jumping out of there. He's one of those wild and crazy guys, and he's messing up his mop a little bit.
Second down and 10. As Darrell Davis, I go back to what I said earlier. Darrell Davis gets a football, 3rd carry. This time at about 6 or 7, nearly gets dragged down in the end zone. We'll be back with more in a moment. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School football game of the week. As the Lakewood Lancers trailing the Millikan Rams 14-zip. This is their play from deep in their own territory. Taja Hardy, I think his 1st or 2nd carry of the game, he gets it inside the 5 and nearly gets caught for a safety. Where was Kevin Scott?
Gets off a nice kick.
But Moore's got it, the 41. Moore cuts back. And a flag down at the end of the play. And we'll get a report from Eddie Van Geis.
Willie and Errol, I'm in a very happy place. It's called Millikanville. Here they are. What's your name?
Amanda Moore.
What do you think of the game?
I think it's great that we're winning, and I wish my brother Jeremy Moore good luck.
All right, Amanda, what's your name?
Renata Kinsey.
What do you have to say about the game tonight?
I have to say that I wish my cousin Michael Odom a good luck, and I'm glad that we're winning.
All right, let's get somebody over here. Who are you?
Kasim Warning.
What do you think of the game?
It's all right.
All right. Are you having a good time tonight?
Oh, yeah!
Who's going to win this game?
Millikan!
There you have it. Let's go back upstairs to Willie and Errol.
We've got another penalty, and this one's going to be marked off against the Rams. Somewhere in that last shot, I saw some kids with their chest painted blue, and personal foul against Millikan. So it's going to be 1st down and 25.
Well, that's nothing. I've seen chests like that in Chicago by Lake Michigan in the depths of winter.
And there's no game.
Yes. I don't know what those guys are doing out there, okay? But there's no game in your Soldier Field. Now, you explain that to me.
They're the guys, as DeAndre Grant gets the football, rolls over for 3 or 4. But I like that. That shows some school spirit.
It certainly does.
2nd down and 22 yards. 8:50 left in the ball game. The Rams don't need to score anymore. They just have to keep the Lancers from scoring. And that would be out of 4 games if the Lancers should not score. Their 3rd shutout out of 4 Moore League games. Their only points coming against Compton, and those should have an asterisk. In motion, Anderson. Beaudry back. Pass complete to Weller. Weller does a U-turn, but he was trying to lose 2 to gain a bundle, but the gamble didn't work. He just lost 2 after the completion of about 8.
Well, he had presence of mind, but he should have got to that first down marker rather than trying to make a big play out of it.
But it would have been 13 yards further down the field because of that.
That's right. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, then he did the right thing. He was trying to get extra yardage, but he lost 2 yards in the process.
Right. It was a good gamble. He lost 2 to try and gain a lot, but at least when he saw it wasn't going to work, he cut his losses and went down.
That time Weller got in back of the defensive back, and it was a nicely executed pass and catch.
3rd and 14. Rams, who earlier in this game actually attempted a 53-yard or 52-yard field goal. That's virtually unheard of at the high school level, although the record is in the 60s. I believe Eric Appleton from Charter Oak holds that. But let's get a report from Eddie Van Geis.
Willie and Errol, this is Jenny Medina, the captain of the Millikan drill team. Here they are. You know, Jenny approached me and said, Eddie, you're always talking to cheerleaders. Well, we won a big drill team competition a couple weeks ago. Jenny, tell us about it.
Well, we competed at Orange Field Tournament, and we were up against 4 or 5 teams, and we won first place in drill and color guard. So that's really great for us. It's been like 5 or 6 years since we've done that.
Congratulations. How many members do you have on your squad?
About 35, 32, somewhere in the 30s. We have a lot of people this year.
Any more competitions coming up?
Yes, this Saturday, tomorrow, we're having competition in Mission Viejo, and I hope we get first from that too.
All right, well, good luck. Good luck, ladies. Here they are, the Millikan drill team. They are champions in their own right.
And don't you forget it, Eddie. You got to get all those extracurricular teams out on the field. The drill team, and there are so many after-school programs. It's not just sports, and I know that folks that watch our coverage think that we're just in tune with the football teams, but we also realize that there are plenty of other activities for the young people in the community, and while we would like to recognize all of them, the football programs are really the one avenue that we have to showcase high school talent. But I don't think this is what I would call showcasing. This is not Phi Beta Kappa football right here.
An ill-advised attempt to get the football. Should have let it roll. And you know, when that ball takes tricky bounces like that, you really should just get away from him. And he didn't. He decided to be a hero and make something happen, and he becomes a GOAT.
Not playing with your shoes untied is ill-advised. That was just flat out, you don't do it.
No, you really don't. And I'm trying to be kind, but it was ill-advised. I don't know who advised him, but it was ill-advised.
That man's the one in trouble. And now the Rams, once again, I'd said this on their previous drive, not necessarily in need of scoring. They just need to keep the Lancers off the board, which the Lancers are doing a pretty good job of keeping the Lancers off the board. All the Rams have to do is help out. But more importantly, they need to run the clock. And I commented to you while Eddie was doing his previous interview that throwing the passes that are going to gain you 15 yards and great, you know, but you're still going to be 5 yards short of a first down. Run the ball. 30 seconds, 45 seconds, a little more important than the yardage at this point. DeAndre Grant, no one's stopping him. It's time to start rolling up cable. This one's over. The 1996 season for the Rams, there's still a hint, a scent of playoff football out there for them. For Lakewood, this may be the longest season that they've had in a while, and that includes their playoff runs. They may have played 11 games, but it's not as long as this.
They are down by 20 points with 6:25 to play, and they have shot themselves in the foot. And in fact, they don't have any feet left.
And a flag comes down, and that's just pretty poor football, as Caceres got roughed up at the tail end of that. But
that's this replay here, we have DeAndre Grant bouncing inside this time and going in virtually untouched in the end zone.
21 zip. Millikan. Hi, folks. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School football game of the week. The game, a rivalry, maybe not on the same parallel as the Wilson-Pauley game, and this year, not even close in terms of excitement or even, shall I say, execution. But one team's going to walk away with a very important victory. The other, another loss.
And it looks like the Rams, and that just keeps their playoff hopes alive. If they can hang on and win this football game, they'll face a very tough Poly team next week, and I think we're going to cover that game.
Scott.
Back up.
Trying to win a foot race to the corner, but he's not going to do it. But he did get a nice return, and what else? Another flag. This one's going to be 15-4 the Lancers at the tail end of it. You mentioned that things were going poorly for Lakewood as they were 20 points down. But when you have a season going like this where they're 1-8 and they're being shut out in their third of 4 Morley games, you're not only down in the game, but you start to sense almost a permeation of the program, and you really want to turn that around. I'm not saying that it's going downhill, but it's something that if it is, you want to stop it.
Oh, of course, and I think when you roll back the tape of games that the Lakewood Lancers have had this season, not only they're compounding mistakes early in the season with fumbles and those types of things, but then now we're also seeing a number of penalties that have really hurt them also.
Well, the old saying that winning is contagious, losing is even more so. And when you start losing, things start happening that just seem unnatural. Nearly picked off by the Rams. And some things in this game, in fact, we could show that had they happened in the normal world, the real world instead of the bizarre world of Lakewood football, they would not have happened the way they did, such as the punt that hits the 1-yard line and generally goes right through the end zone. Instead, it hits the 1 and makes a left turn. In normal high school football, that goes through. In bizarro Lakewood football, it goes to the left. And that is the kind of thing I mean. Just that shouldn't have happened. But it happens when you're losing, and it just makes things worse. There's also all the drop passes, which they were getting close to, and now the passes aren't so good, and they're going to be even more difficult.
It's harder to concentrate as a quarterback, especially a new one, when you begin to throw the football and get a feel and get some rhythm, and then your wide receivers drop the football, and you have to forget that play and go on to the next one, but it still sticks into your mind until you some things start going correctly for you. And tonight, not many things have gone correct for the Lakewood Lancers.
.606 in the fourth. 3rd down and 10. Vasconcelos. At least there's a catch, and the clock continues to tick. That was a tough play, but it didn't gain much.
That was a nice grab by Keith Jackson that time, and a ball that was not well thrown, but it was a tough catch. And you know, wide receivers expect the ball not to be thrown to them, right in their letters all the time, and that was not a bad throw, but it was a nice catch.
Well, that's what we're talking about, rhythm. You can't get a rhythm when your good passes are dropped and your bad passes are caught. You got to get the good passes caught, get some yardage, get that field going. And it's just contagious. The bad things seem to compound each other and just snowball. Kyle Moore breaks free, midfield. And he's tackled by the punter. Now that's a quality punter. He's had like 6 great kicks in this game, and now he makes a touchdown-saving tackle. That's my punter of the year. Paul Bice gets my vote.
And he's had a lot of work thus far this season. He gets off a nice punt. It was a nice straight arm by Kyle Moore. And then he turns on the afterburners, but you know, these guys get angles. If everybody started the same, he would probably outrun the interference, the tacklers. But he gets thrown down over there about the 20, actually about the 30 7-yard line.
What a great tackle by Bice, too, as one Lancer went submarining by and Kyle Moore sidestepped him, and then Bice just makes a man-to-man one-on-one tackle. Usually they don't even put the height and weight of the punter because they don't do that kind of work, but Paul Bice sure did.
Yeah, those punters and kickers have to be good tacklers because oftentimes they're the last player between 6 points, and they have to be good tacklers.
Not many Jim McMahon types out there butting helmets with linemen.
Nope.
I think Kevin Butler of the Bears was one of those kind of guys. But he got cut this year. See what that got him.
Boy.
2nd and 6, clock ticking, Beaudry passing, and it's incomplete.
Good job, gentlemen.
Let's see. The strategy, I believe, is to run out the clock, and you're throwing the football.
Well, you know, I don't have to disagree with you a little bit, Willie, here. You know, I understand what you're saying. When you run the football, you burn off more time in the clock. This was a first down, actually the 3rd down play.
It was second, now 3rd.
But, you know, the defense is really waiting on you to do that. So sometimes you kind of run a different kind of play so that you can get a first down.
Your point is taken, but have they stopped DeAndre Grant or Josh Jordan on consecutive 3 or 4 plays in a row?
No, they have not.
Then why stop doing it? Why are you going to stop doing this? I think the running plays just fine, and so does Gabe Anderson.
Gabe Anderson really has been running well all year, and
what would a touchdown be without a penalty?
Oh, wow.
At the end of the play for excessive celebration.
Oh, excessive celebration.
Either that or too much time between penalties. With 4 minutes left, this is turning into a field goal instead of an extra point. With 4 minutes left, 27-0.
Gabe Anderson is interested in engineering, and he wants to go to college and still play football. So he looked good on that play, and a nice, just straight off handoff, and bounced outside for the touchdown.
The kick after the placement got a little funky there is wide. If your passing game isn't working, just run.
Nice blocking and nice running. I mean, you don't get any better than that.
And that'll get you 15 yards. 4 minutes left. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School football game of the week. This has been Millikan all over Lakewood. 27-zip. They have mauled them offensively, defensively, special teams, the full gambit.
Started off to be an offensive struggle, and it's turned into a domination by Millikan.
Nice return, Matt Garcia. No flags. .352 left in the ball game.
Well, now the Rams can begin to start looking ahead, being 27-0 and 3:52 left in the 4th quarter toward the Poly game. And that is going to be the game that stands between them and a playoff berth. The Poly Jackrabbits have dominated the Moore League this year in the first 4 games. They've only given 30 points up to Wilson, and they've shut out everyone else. Well, of course, I think it was 14 tonight against Jordan, so they haven't. But they're playing really well right now. It's going to be a tough task for Millikan to win that ball game.
Durr gets the interception, which that pass must have gotten away from Vasconcelos, because that was just, apparently Vasconcelos hit as he threw it, because that pass, he definitely lost the handle.
And he gets hit right at the end of that play, and that's causing, is that Alfred Durr, number 12? Yes. Gets an interception.
Well, I had a feeling it went away from him, because that was nowhere near where it was intended, and that'll turn the ball over. So the Millikan players will be asking themselves, as they have Poly on their schedule for their final Moore League game of the season, are you a lamb or a ram?
Well, they will have their hands full, particularly their secondary against Kareem Kelly and Kenyon Rambo.
That's not a lateral. It's a forward pass. Incomplete pass. Are you a ram or a lamb? That should be the slogan for the week for Millikan, because it's all on the line.
Well, they've turned their season around. They won 5 preseason games, and now this is their second Moore League victory. Last year, they only won 2 games overall as we look at Tony Peralta. And, you know, kudos go to Tony Peralta. He might be considered the coach of the year if he can make it to the playoffs, because he's really, in the 4 years in this program, he's instilled some good morality in the program and good high principles.
If you can make it there, you can make it anywhere.
You talking about New York or the Millikan campus?
You're quick. 2:55 left. This game, as this is the illegal substitution, as it was explained to me, when the team, let's say 3 guys come on the field, 2 guys come off, instead of flagging them with the 15-yard, too many men on the field, it is the illegal substitution because they illegally did not get a 12th player off the field. I still thought it was too many men, but I can understand the way it has been construed, as Millikan getting their second team players out there, and Taiwan Mixon, not to be confused with Nixon.
No, his father is a city employee. I've known him for many, many years. He's very proud of his son. His son's coming in now in a mop-up role. He will probably be the quarterback next year. I think he's a 10th grader, and let's see how he performs here with a couple of minutes left to play in the ball game.
Millikan will improve to 500 in Moore League play. Loose football as Gabe Anderson. Let's see him shoot the clouds down after that run. He got called for a 15-yard unsportsmanlike after the touchdown run for doing his Clint Eastwood. Won't be doing it after that.
Nice clean handoff, but at the end, actually didn't really get the handle. It was a nice handoff, but he had his hands turned the wrong way, and he never really had the handle on the football.
The standings, with 1 week left to play, going to be tight. Nice little run there. That Anderson again?
That's Gabe Anderson again.
Let's see, they're not stopping Anderson now, and they weren't doing Grant and Jordan before. Rams, very good running team when they get things going their way.
Yeah, they have 2 backs that complement each other real well behind a very experienced and powerful offensive line. So they have a hard-running north and south runner like DeAndre Grant, and then they have a nice, tricky runner in the backfield running with him in Josh Jordan.
Nice spin move. Flag is down. Kevin Smith, the back running, gets his first carry, and he's going to have it nullified by a penalty. There goes a stat. Or is it? Who's the penalty on? It might be against Lakewood.
Irregardless, we have seen more penalties in the last few weeks than we have seen in all of the years that we have been coaching, broadcasting football. It's been marred with penalties, particularly the last 2 games.
Well, last week we saw the most points ever scored. Today, maybe the most penalties.
Looks like a Oakland Raider game to me.
This is true.
Yeah, they are notorious for piling up penalties.
Anderson trying to get his second score with a minute left, gets hammered down at the 5. So at least the Lancers not laying down for the Rams, which of course, no surprise there. This is their arch rival. If anything else, this is where you make your stand. I can't understand Millikan scoring or calling a timeout here. And it was just a couple weeks back. We talked about it, but we'll talk about it more in a moment. Welcome back to our Long Beach High School football game of the week as we stand just 39.6 seconds left on the clock away from a Millikan victory. And I'm very interested to see what Millikan does here at the 5-yard line after what happened to them against Wilson, where there was a lot of bad feelings by Wilson scoring in the closing seconds. Peralta calls timeout, but what did he tell him to do?
Take a knee.
That's a class act. I like it.
Well, Peralta's a class guy, you know, not to take anything away from anyone else, but
right, regardless of what anyone else does.
Peralta is really a class guy. He's always been that, and it's a class thing to do.
Right, that's not to denigrate anybody for anything that they've done, but just pointing out that that's the way it should be done. Clock ticking, it's going to run out. The remainder of the schedule, there's only one game left for the Moore League teams. Pauley is in the CIF playoffs. Pauley has clinched the Moore League title
for the 16th time in 17 years.
And for almost every year of my lifetime. I mean, they are just a machine. But most importantly, for the teams concerned in this one, Lakewood start counting the days till the spring practice for the 97 season. Millikan is going to need a huge victory next week to get into the playoffs because Wilson played Compton tonight. You can put that in the bank as a win. That would improve their record to 3-1. Next week, Wilson plays Lakewood. The way things have gone, Lakewood would have to pull off a huge upset to keep Wilson from the CIF playoffs. And even Jordan would have to get upset. I think that's the only scenario left.
And Jordan plays who next week?
Compton. That upsetters, that's just like a miracle. Meanwhile, down in the field, Eddie Van Gys, as usual, trying to get a word with the head coach. And, of course, that would be Tony Peralta, as he's got a team that just won 27-zip. Let's go down to Eddie, standing by with Coach Peralta, the winning coach in this ball game, as they win the Hamilton Trophy.
Millikan Rams coach Tony Peralta joining me. Tony, your team looked great tonight, especially in the second half.
Well, we've been a second-half team all year. You don't like that. You wish you'd come out and play a little better in the first half. But it was a great game. I mean, Lakewood played good football, and it was competitive. That's what we expected. That's the kind of game it is.
Your offensive line did a job blowing some holes open in that second half.
Yeah, that's what we, at halftime, decided that's what we need to do. We have a senior offensive line. We had to put it into their hands, let them run the ball and control the game. And that's what we intended to do.
What's the nickname of Jordan and Grant? Thunder and Lightning, or the Corvette and the Tank? What is it?
Well, you know, either of those. I haven't thought of that, but I'll have to use that. Thanks for your input.
Congratulations, Coach. Next week, big game against Poly.
Oh, yeah, obviously. Yeah, obviously. Thank you.
Good luck.
All right.
All right, fellas, let's do it one more time. A very happy coach, Tony Peralta, the Millikan Rams. What spirit here this year in '96? Let's go back upstairs to Willie and Errol.
How about the understatement? A big game against Poly next week. There's no question there.
Yeah, they'll have their hands full against a very powerful, potent offensive attack that Long Beach Poly has. But I like their chances because they're in the football game. I mean, it could be different.
That's why you play them. We'll be back to wrap it up in a moment.
Shut the hams.
It's true. I remember that. Hey, what is that? I picked up my hand, man.
Smile, tough guys. Smile, toughies. Toughies. Smiley. Let's see your smileys, toughies. Coaches. Coaches. Just keep it filming everything. Coaches. Come on, you guys, work it here. Who needs What's my motivation here, guys? Be creative. Be creative. What's my motivation? Come on, work it, Walbridge. No, watch out. I don't want to get in trouble. The coaches right here. What's up, baby? Kid number 1, baby. By the way, this is Coach Wiseman's film. Now shut up, shut up. Watch this, man. Watch this, watch this. We are now about to film all the coaches of Millikan. Watch out. We are now looking at all the coaches of Millikan High School. All the coaches.
I think the coaches have out. Wonderful year this year, right?
We are now looking at all the coaches of Millikan High School in front of the Hamilton Trophy. We have just beaten Lakewood. Now we have Garner in the picture for some reason. There goes Coach Ray. There's Mosley. There's Palmer. Kiggerbrook. Peralta, Morgan, Stein. There goes the lovely Wiseman, whose camera we're borrowing. There's Coach Dixon. These are all of our Millikan High School football coaches. And I hope you love your video, Coach Wiseman. Look at Coach Dixon smiling. Look at Coach Dixon smiling. Oh, there goes Coach Ray. Get your foot out of the way, DeAndre. There you go. Coach Dixon, come on, work it, you guys. Do you have any words of wisdom, Kyle? Oh, hold on. What's up, neck bone? And the girl with the fluorescent cats. There's Leyland Haas. Where's the girl? Got hurt against Jordan last week. Don't light it even on. What? Record on. It is on. Record is on, man. Here goes some guys. I don't know who they are. I think that one there is Alex. There goes there goes Alpha. There goes Alfred. There's Alfred Durr, Heisman Trophy. There's Alex Gardner and Leyland Haas. Get your hands off the trophy, Leyland. Trying to steal it? I want to see that trophy in my office. Coach Wiseman. I mean, Coach. This is whose it is. Do you have any words of wisdom, Coach Ray?
Stay in school, son.
Coach, kicker coach. Do you have any words of wisdom?
Wherever you go, there you are.
Coach Morgan, do you have any words of wisdom?
That's good enough.
All right. Good words. We are now filming the O-line huddle after the varsity game. This is what goes on. This is the inside film on the Millikan offensive line. Here goes Insane Zuniga. Do you have any words of wisdom, Coach Dixon? Coach Stein. Coach Stein. Do you have any words of wisdom? Eric Slater, animal. Do you have any words of wisdom, son? Excuse me, sir, would you announce your name to the film? Do you have any words of wisdom? Oh, let's get a show. Here's the lovely Coach Wiseman, the person that's allowing us to use his camera.
He's not even really recording, is he?
Yeah, I am. Look, go ahead, look. He's
I'm looking for the little light. So what you got next?
It's not recording?
Power's on, I don't know. Does it say it's recording?
It says in it.
You're recording the ceiling now. Yeah, you're recording the ceiling. Nice ceiling.
How's it going, Coach Wiseman? Here goes Chambers. We're getting you in the film, Chambers! And there she is. The Hamilton Trophy. Look her over, boys. She's gonna be here for a while. Coach Wiseman, would you look at her? Isn't she beautiful? Uh-oh.
Come on, guys.
I think I broke it. Coach Peralta, do you have any words of wisdom?
Hey.
Do you have any words of wisdom?
Better dead than red, huh?
Oh, I just broke their huddle. Tomlin, do you have any words of wisdom?
No. That's good. You're cleaning up tomorrow. You're cleaning up tomorrow.
Clean up tomorrow.
Clean up, crew.
We are now filming everybody in their underwear. Hey, Tomlin. We are now filming everybody in their underwear. This is inside locker room at Millikan High School. Everything's going on. Any words of wisdom, son? No, I guess not. Give me the real scoop, son. Was Lakewood hard?
Is that yours?
Oh, sorry. Here goes our cage guy, Mike. We actually have linked him to Tupac's death.
77.
Notice how he looks like Tupac.
Hey,
Tupac!
leave him alone.
Tupac! Tupac, do you have any words of wisdom?
No cameras.
Do you have any words of wisdom?
Get that camera out of here, son. Get that camera out of here, guy.
Do you have any words of wisdom, son?
Yeah.
Bozo, do you have any words of wisdom, son? I guess not.
Hey, leave him alone. Stop harassing.
Abroad Saney, do you have any words of wisdom?
Oh, it's not on.
Yeah, it is. It's recording. Yeah, it is.
It's $5.
Power.
There's power.
How come it says recording then? Yeah, it does. Look inside. Damn. You all right?
Up close and personal.
Look. Look at it.
Oh, shit.
The two coaches I missed. I'm going to start with Coach Mosley. Do you have any words of wisdom?
It's not on.
It's not on.
Yes, it is. Look.
Oh, it is.
Okay, cool. Get me then.
Do you have any words of wisdom, Coach Mosley?
We just got into some booty tonight, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Can I say it on the camera?
Yeah.
Camera's at? Who camera's at? Wait a minute.
I know that might be the camera they were trying to show.
Who camera's at?
Coach Wiseman?
No, don't say nothing.
Oh, that's cool.
Don't
Hey, Coach, when you watch this, okay? Excuse my language, but we did get into that Lakewood booty tonight. Big time.
That's what I got to say. What up?
Coach Oliver.
27-0, baby. 27-0.
Hamilton is home. Hey, man, I'm about to get out, man. Shake my booty right now.
Alrighty then.
Take it easy.
We'll see you later. Alright, hey. Where were you on the night of Tupac's death?
I did. Don't tell nobody I did.
Alright. I'll send this tape to America's Most Wanted. Tomlin, we'll get a good shot of you. Oh, sorry. Coach Wiseman! The Hamilton Trophy, once again, are the Millikan Rams. Let's take a look at our ball boy, M. Jackson over there. M. Jackson, can we get a shot of you with the trophy?
Dummy. All right, you can get one for me, right? Hey, y'all, the camera not even on.
Yeah, it is. Go ahead, get over there, guys.
Man.
Get over there, guys.
Oh, we're gonna take
Hold on, Coach. Hey, can we get a, hey, Coach Potts, can we get one with you in the...
Hey, fellas, can you help me out? We're going to fill these trash.
Okay. Here is our principal, Mr. Vojtovich, with the Hamilton Trophy. When I first met Mr. Vojtovich,
He's dreaming.
he hassled me about spelling my name wrong.
Right. The red light is right there.
Alrighty then. Goodbye.
No, it ain't.
Gonna get that.
Look, it says recording.
Let me see.
No, I gotta take. Where's Coach Wiseman at? What picture here?
Mr. Vojtovich. Here we go. There he goes. Yeah, that's right.
Coach Wiseman, I owe you a tape.
This way a little bit. There you go. Yeah, you see that?
Smile.
Tight, get tight. So it's like from here.
I wonder who's taking the picture. Ah, it's Coach Dixie. Alrighty then. Goodbye.
Flash, you gotta push that deal up.
I am now looking for Coach Wiseman so I can get dressed. Why, here's the lovely Vladimir. Vladimir, show us your stretch marks. Oh my God! How's it going? Chris Hyde, do you have any words of wisdom? No. I guess not. Randy Scott, do you have any words? Alrighty then. Do you have any words of wisdom? No. Excuse me. Ah, and here's the mom of the family. Do you have any words of wisdom?
Love all you boys.
And you, Kicker? Kicker Ken?